Check, check, check. 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. This is impromptu. Don't even know if anybody even watched. Have no idea if anybody will even drop by, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point. I want to give a shout out to the final watcher, Brotherly Love 215, Charles Gilmore 3, Diego Harry, Patricia Colley, 7Q Pitt, Kwaku Asasi, Super Tech, Liz Terrell, Rogish the Billmonger, Michael Ross, Gregory Oliver, Darkside Mythsanthrop, Greg, Rais Muajid, Dornell Smith, Antonio Ferria, Papa Didas, Barry Little, Alan Wiley, Mr. Valentino, Jason Hills, Black Men Being Brutally Honest, 77 Base X, Craig, Omni Americana, Cameron 87, Deshaun Nolly, Brian Peace, Nelso, Apex Prowler, Kareem Henry, Dr. Rock, Julius Ferguson, B. Hillfire, J. Charles, Mark Holt, Lee Ways, Jeffrey Speed, The Face, Mark Swift, Show Me, Black Dog, Odd Collard, Raphael Brown, Deanne, Donald Watts, Cozy Corner, Hip Hop.catv, Coach DC, The Remedy, Kashif Caldwell, Ominous Black, I Am Black Man, Nichita, True King 337, Mr. Blue Collar, Barnolas, Kyle J. Sura, I'm Just Jules, Ab Media 83, Brian McMurray, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Artisan MC, Mr. Heat, Afro Analyst, Isa Abdul Zahir, Sir Anthony, MLR, Charles Rogers, Universal 178, Black Swerve 404, Rashid Barnes, Aaron Smith, D8, C Truth the Revelator, Gold Professor, Arthur Unknown, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Kalan Jakala, Ricky Dawson, Cedric Bowman, True 7360, BK Bourne Shaheed, James Washington, Hostile Adept, Seven Coast Dojo, WPR1, BGS Ibmore, and Marvin Battle Jr. Can't forget Forrest Windu. Can't forget him. May you rest in heaven. Also, I want to give a shout out to all the people on the Patreon side, as I always do. Shout out to Dornell Smith, Chris York, Excalibur, Jason Warren, Soul Pen, Anu219, Pursuer Prisoner, Taz, Kwaku217, S. Haywood, Dragon59, Supreme Ibmore, Adrian Hicks, Jay Bailey, Mr. Meacher, Mo Mal, and the same one. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. And thank you for joining me. Show me I see you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I do have a t-shirt, man, that you can buy. I'll direct you to it, man. I haven't had it going for quite a bit of time, and I'm gonna get it going again. But it's on my website, greengorillachannel.com. There's a shop there, and I'll post a link to that, and then you could go to the shop and buy a t-shirt, bruh. Let me give you the link to that. I haven't been pushing it and promoting it as of late, but I'll leave the link for you. There's the link to that. There you go, my brother. You see the link. And thank you for the extra super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. And look, this is impromptu, man. I didn't plan on doing this at all. And typically, I don't do impromptu. I like a lot of special effects and stuff like that. I like the visual aesthetics associated with having a channel and so on and so forth, man. You know what I do, and you know how I do it. But I want to ask a question, and I want to get your answer to this. I think I have the answer. That's just my personal opinion. I think I got the answer to this question. But shout out to y'all, man. Shout out Alonso. Shout out She. I see you here. Presidential Mike, shout out to you. Vernon King, shout out. Mac McClinton, Lee Rittenauer, Giorgio, Adam Williams. Shout out to y'all, man. And it's a Saturday, man. I don't do this often, man. On Saturdays, I try to enjoy my Saturdays. I try to keep my Saturdays to myself. But I was thinking about this. I was musing about it, and it was mulling over my mind. What is the engine that drives the Gynocracy? What is it? I want to know what you think the answer to this question is. I think I got the right answer, but you tell me. We've talked about the Gynocracy, women being in control, women being in control of the Black community, governing, regulating the culture, politically, economically, socially. What do you think is the engine that drives the Gynocracy? She, we hear, says selfishness. Hey man, that's that's a good answer. That's a good answer. And look, I'll invite you all, whoever wants to come in and tell me what they think the answer is to this question. I'll invite you here. What do you think is the engine that drives the Gynocracy? Lee Rittenhour says it is driven unlogically. That may be the case. It may be driven illogically, but it's still driven. Even a bad driver can drive a car. You know? Oh, we hold on, President. Let me see. Ben beef and brock. I guess that's beef and broccoli. I never quite seen it that way. Said they will sacrifice the mind of the kids for the freedom of the women. Ooh, boy, that's saying something, bro. Ooh, wee. I think that they do sacrifice the minds of the kids for their own freedom. I do believe that that's the case. You, boy, you getting there. Presidential Mike says they'd rather fail alone than win together. Short-minded. Mm. Then we got James Johnson that says authority over men, life and lifestyle free of accountability and judgment. I mean, that's part of it. That's part of it. And then we here comes back in and says, I want what I want, my truth. It's a lot of that going on. I'll agree. It's a lot of that going on. And oh, look. Trey Boogie says male stupidity. We can end all this if we wanted to. And to some degree, I think you are correct, my friend. But then, Trey Boogie, how do you end it? How do men end it? How does that take place? How do you end something that is as pervasive as it is? And Jason Hill says it's culture. Construction site says that it's black male incompetence that fuels it. And to some degree, men have a lot to do with the situation. I think that they do. But it's deeper than that, though. It's a simple answer as far as I'm concerned. One of the brothers already got close to it. I ain't going to say, but it's just my mind, what I think. I can't tell you exactly what it is. This is not like 2 + 2 = 4 or 2 × 2 = 4. It's not like the square root of 64 is 8. There's no precise answer to this, but I think I got just about the best answer to this question as far as I'm concerned. That's just me. Jason Hill says it's a combination of policy and culture. Vernon King says white backing, black women lust for control, and black men that just give in. I think all of those are accurate. But what do white people back? What's the engine through which black women are able to actually have control? What is it that black men just give in to? He said they just want to fail. President Mike said they just want to fail in the driver's seat. Now, let me just say this, man. This doesn't have to be long. I just want to know if you think I'm right or wrong. So I'm gonna get right to it. But again, I'm gonna leave the link. I'm gonna leave this link, and you tell me if I'm right. You tell me if I'm wrong. Now, some people say it's a mindset, a psychological disposition, an emotional state, or it's a form of culture or enculturation, like feminism or black girl magic or the desire to be in control, to want to run things, that's the engine. So it's a psychological state or an ideology or a cultural disposition. That's what some people are going to say. And I think it has an influence, but that's like the alternator or the carburetor. It ain't the engine. It's not the engine. Some say it's simps, or that it's laws, or that it's policies that are designed to benefit women. And to some degree, I concur. I do agree that that's it to some degree. But again, that's not the engine. That might be the battery. The battery, or, the AC, the catalytic converter or something. That's not the engine that drives it. That's not striking the target. That's not hitting the bullseye. You ever play darts? That's like hitting the 13 or the 17 or the 19 on the board. But you have not hit the bullseye. So it's not simps primarily. It's not laws primarily. But laws do have an impact. But the laws exist for one specific reason. And the policies that benefit women exist for a specific reason. That's close. So when you talk about beta males or simps or, you know, daggles, whatever you call them, man, I don't understand all the nomenclature of the manosphere all the time. But whatever, okay. It's close, but it ain't no cigar, man. That's not the cigar. So I'm trying to figure out, what is the Gynocracy's main bargaining chip? What's the glue that holds it together? What is its biggest asset and its greatest resource? Everybody's like, I'm waiting on the edge of the seat to get the answer. Uh-oh. I think Jason Hale has it. If I had a reward to give you, I'd give it to you. The engine that drives it are children. That's it. The engine that drives the Gynocracy are children. Children. Children, why do I say this? Because children are assets to black women, but they're liabilities to black men. Children are assets to black women, but they are liabilities to black men. Now, from the inception of black men's transportation, I'm not talking about second, third wave immigrants that came to America after slavery. I'm talking about people of African descent who were brought to the Americas, right? From their inception, black children have not been black men's possession. They did not belong to him. They never belonged to you as a black man. Children who are black have never been your possession. They've never been under your stewardship. But quiet as kept, neither did they belong to her. Because in fact, just keep it real, most black people belong to White Zaddy and Miss Ann. You are like a car, a cow. You are like a microwave, a TV. You were a possession. Better analogy as a plow, a tractor, a robot. In other words, black men didn't even belong to themselves. But then, you get emancipation. And so black people have this newfound freedom. And the first thing they begin to do is to develop little towns and businesses and stuff like that. But then you get Jim Crow comes in and terroristic threats and massacres to come to raise all that, to wash all that away. But then, and black men and women together for the most part, they reared children in tandem. There was some sort of close knit, something functional to some degree. It never was fully functional, never fully. But there was some modus vivendi, some little temporary compromise. But then, when you get Lyndon Baines Johnson and the Great Society, it just blows it all out of proportion. So the only things of value that black women actually possess at this point, and the glue, the engine, not I won't say the glue, but the engine that drives the gynocracy, or motherhood and children. That's it. Children. Ask yourself, if a woman decides to leave a man, and black women leave black men all the time, they have children. Motherhood gives them absolute control over another human being. And yes, and social assistance. Because guess what? The social assistance is connected to motherhood. That's where the social assistance comes from. Without motherhood, you don't have any social assistance. That's where you get the social assistance. This is why children are assets to black women, but they're liabilities for black men. You know what you can get in terms of social assistance if you have a child? You can get housing. You can get health care, dental care. You can get WIC, so nutritional assistance. SNAP, I think is what they call it. You can get Medicare, Medicaid. You get so many forms of assistance, but guess what you don't get? You get none of those forms of assistance. And even if you are the only way you would get that kind of assistance is if you were the primary caretaker or the main custodial parent of that child. That's the only way you would be entitled to those benefits. Children are assets to women in this culture, black culture, but they're liabilities to men. Let something go wrong with you and you're down on your luck and you ain't got your shit together and you need some medical care. Now, I'm not saying that those kind of programs don't exist to some degree, but not like it does for single mothers. Not like it does for them. Also, you get income tax credit. So you get thousands of dollars when it comes for tax time. So children are assets to women, but they're liabilities for men. Now, it should not be this way because we know how children come into the world. They don't come into the world by themselves. Takes two to tango. We already know it's not a magical happening. Women don't just, spontaneously become immaculately, conceived with child. That's not how that works. They lay down with a man, engage in copulation, and then they have babies. That's how this works. And they do so having no second thoughts because they know. So all of this, this idea of, oh, I did it backwards. No, they didn't. Not for themselves, because these children are assets to them. It keeps them in control. The source of all of the power related to the gynocracy is children, man. That's it. Now the question is, how do you combat against it? How do you stop that? There's only one answer to that question. But I guarantee you, black men will not do what it takes to empower themselves, which would mean, basically, don't impregnate these women, bruh. Don't do it, man. That's the only way that the situation can be solved. That's their currency. That's their bargaining chip. That's their power. And yes, there are laws that help, women exclusively. We already know about the tender years doctrine, the basic interest of the child, those kind of language, structures within the legal realm. We know that. But they wouldn't be given any of those preferences or those privileges and those social benefits if they did not have possession of the children. The children is the engine that drives the gynocracy. That's the facts as far as I'm concerned. Now, I could be wrong. Now, maybe, somebody else will come along and they'll tell me something different or make me rethink or make me, reevaluate what it is that's going on through my brain. But my intuitions, I think if they're serving me correctly, I think I'm right about this. But the question is, how did it ever come to pass that children were perceived exclusively as the possession of women? Well, we know that this has, origins in it has origins in common law. Okay, that's where this comes from. It has origins in common law. Thank you, Xavier Brothers Group. Appreciate the support and the donation, man. I appreciate that. When did it come to pass? When did it come to pass that women were perceived as the main custodians of children? Now, I'm telling you, in 1839, there was something that was enacted called the Custody of Infants Act. Before 1839, men had full custody of children in divorce cases. This is Western culture. This is a tradition going all the way probably back to Rome, where you had patria potestas. That's the patriarchy, okay? Men were perceived as the primary caretakers of children, not women. But because it was already perceived that men had full custody and the role and responsibility of being the primary caretaker of children, women with this Custody of Infants Act could petition the court like men have to petition the court today. Women could petition the court to maintain custody of their children up until the age of 7. But then in 1873, they extended the age to 16. This is the tender years doctrine, which the English courts presume that in a child's early years, they are best cared for by the mother. And of course, this principle was adopted by the majority of US states, and the law reigned for the next century. Before these mangina simps decided to give up their power over children to women, they had a true patriarchy. Now they have a gynocracy. Even they do. But I mean, of course, their women are not so aloof and are not so politically bankrupt. They have common sense. They understand. Not all of them, but I mean, many of them understand because they have the same issues and problems also. These people really have begun to undermine their own culture, their own power. Children should be a blessing, not a curse. Children should be an asset, not a liability. They're not a liability to her because she has sole control over the direction of the child's life. And anytime she feels that she doesn't like the job you're doing, she can divorce herself from you. And more than likely, because of the laws, the Care of Infants Act, and the Tender Years Doctrine, and the Best Interest of the Child Doctrine, more than likely, the inertia now is going to go her way. And we can talk about how hard and rough and how, difficult it is to be a single mother. I say, oh, that's just lies. That's gaslighting. I say that it's an absolute lie. They're just not telling you the truth about it. They have patriarchal power. It is what it is. They currently have patriarchal power. They have power that was traditionally given to men in order to be the principal governors of the education and the discipline of children. Now, why would anybody give that shit up? That's why you see so much single motherhood in our community, because they're not giving up their power. That's a hell of a thing, man, to have control over the life of a child. Because the children give birth to future citizens, future legislators, or future criminals, future doctors, or future fools. It's all dependent upon how you educate them. And do you perceive them as a resource? Only that can bring you money and that can bring you some sort of mystical connection to something that in our community we consider to be divine, which in and of itself is motherhood. I don't perceive it as divine at all. Neither do I perceive fatherhood as divine. It just is what it is. But we've given it some sort of mystical power. We've imbued it with some sort of value I don't think it deserves. I've said this before. Animals can gestate other versions of themselves inside of their womb. Half of the animal species that are mammals do this. It's not because of magic. We know how it happens. And we know that it takes a man and his DNA and half of his chromosomes, 23, I believe, in order to form the damn child. But we perceive it as it's the woman's possession. That's her property. That's my child. Look how they talk about it. I have kids. The daddy is an afterthought. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. We're on moon time. We in moon culture right now. That's my opinion, man. I'm gonna stick to that. Again, I invited you to come in if you wanted to say something about it. If you don't want to say something about it, some of y'all, man, y'all act like y'all intimidated by me. But that's just my thought. That's just my thoughts, man. Construction site, man. What's going on, bro? You hear?
Uh, Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. What's going on?
Well, first, this is my first time. First,
Uh
but
oh.
also that I'm a big fan of your content. I've
Thank you, bro.
been listening for a while, and I'm always impressed with the stuff that you put out. But yeah, I agree. I think that I would say children, if they're the engine, then I would say white male companionship is the lubricator to the gynocracy. I think that yeah, we can say what you want about the mom and the dad, with the child and their relationship. I think that white dudes are wholly complicit in what ladies do when it comes to as far as custody, behaviors in school, behaviors as a teenager, behavior as a young adult, all the way up until young black males get arrested, and then they're also complicit in that. When black males, let's say they go to school, go to college, get their degrees, they are very much so complicit in what goes on in underemployment, unemployment, black males not advancing in their careers, um, overall just elevating ladies, specifically black ladies, into keeping that power that they have in the black community.
Well, the power comes from motherhood.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying. The power comes from being a mom.
yeah, yeah, and
Okay. And
yeah,
and being the sole custodian. So when you hear these women talk about, okay, I'm a single mother, I'm looking for a man, I don't believe it. I don't buy it. You know, like a lot of women who call in the Kevin Samuels show, I'm looking for a man. How many kids you got? I got 3. And then he talks to him and says, well, you know, you're not you're not a someone who's appealing anymore. I don't think they're looking for, these women are not looking for men at all. Because if they were looking for men, they would have been with the men that they got, you know, impregnated by. These women are not looking for men. They're looking for motherhood status. This is the thing they primarily have as a value. They don't have the value of they don't see value. See, a mother is a social role,
mhm.
okay? And it's a biological function, okay? It is that. But it's also a social role that women don't mind, black women don't mind taking on by themselves. Because if they did mind taking it on by themselves, they wouldn't take it on by themselves. There's too many of them that are having, this status, motherhood status, without husbands. Okay, so ultimately, this is what they value: motherhood over being a wife. The wife is optional; it's not mandatory. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, it does. It does take men to participate, because if men would not participate and say, "Look, you're not taking my seed, which is my resource," because the seed plant implants the soil, right? And then it's supposed to yield fruit. And the fruit is supposed to be advantageous to the person who planted it in the soil. Am I right or am I wrong about that?
Completely right. Completely right. I think fellas, like you said, need to be way more protective, way more responsible with their seed. And I think maybe, well, I think young people are going to do what young people do, but I think fellas, I'm sure we've all in the video have been in relationships. When you're young, you just don't think that far ahead. I remember in my relationship, when it gets ugly, and you don't think that um, someone that you're sleeping with, that you're sharing fluids with, that you possibly are sharing, as you say, DNA with, you know, um, would do some of the things that they do, um, even before having a kid. When the relationship gets to that point where it's pretty much over, the pettiness that can come from a partner, you'll be surprised. Add a kid into the mix, pettiness plus power. I think it equals a bad outcome for fellas. And that's why I agree with you. I think that fellas should be way more protective with, one, sharing fluids in general, but definitely sharing that seed with someone who, you know, um, you think you might know, but you don't know. In terms of a relationship, in terms of becoming a wife, in terms of becoming a mother as well.
But see, you're right on, bro. So I believe you're right, construction. But here's the deal, though, right? You're right about the youth, because nature is going to drive men and women to come together. That's natural. Okay, that is natural. And apparently, it's also natural for people to get upset with each other, to need distance, and so on and so forth. And then, but when you're dealing with children, you got to have you have to have the capacity to come back and to remedy whatever differences that you have. Okay, but that only counts though if there's an overarching structure that's even more important than the children, which is the relationship between the mother and the father. I guarantee you, man, it ain't too many women out here who will be happy. They say they don't mind men sleeping around, but women are killing men because they think men are out here sleeping around. They're pulling guns and pouring hot grits and stabbing men and all kind of crazy things because they think their men are cheating or their men may have cheated on them. So they demand monogamy. Most of these women do. They don't want to be in a position where they have to share men or their man with anybody else. Now, if you say the same thing, you become what?
A pig.
You become controlling. You are, you know, patriarchal. You're dominating. You're preventing her from being who she is. Okay, which to me is absolute bullshit. Like, I haven't met too many women yet who are cool with me. Just like if I'm smashing her, she just cool with me. Go, hey, look, there my other boo is right there. Now it's a new day and age or whatever, you know. But come on, let's keep it 100, bro. Let's just keep it 100. Most women don't want to share their men with a whole bunch of chicks, bro. And men don't like that. Men don't like to come to soil and then somebody done planted seeds all up in the soil in his plot of land. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, who wants that, man? I don't want that. So at the end of the day, Shark Skims, I'm bringing him back in. You fell out the first time. All right. And I'm going to bring Giorgio in if I can get him his device connected. But the issue is, man, the women have control over the black community because, yes, it is the law that allows them to do this. It is. But it's the law as applied to children. They are the men now. They are the fucking family. You're not. You're just a donor, man. And you got to teach these young guys. And it's difficult to do because nature's going to draw men and women together. It's going to draw them together. You're going to see that fat ass. You're going to see that slim waist. You're going to be like, damn, you're going to have some drinks. You might smoke something. Next thing you know, you sliding up in the guts. Okay? Y'all doing the thing. But you got to be careful, man. Women have birth control. Men have no form of birth control other than a condom or a vasectomy. I don't know too many men who want to have a vasectomy if they haven't had a lot of children already, because then it prevents them or closes or bars their, capacity from being able to sire children in the future. So men don't do that. Okay. But men are going to have to be more active and selective in terms of protecting their seed. So I think you're right about that. But older black men have to start telling these young dudes, look, stop thinking that your manhood is connected to fucking all these women, man. That's the quickest way for your manhood power to be drained, to be siphoned away from you, especially if you make the wrong decision. If you want to know how quickly you can go from being a lion with a shining mane to being a motherfucking mangy mane lion, is to have a kid with a woman who's sticking it to you and creating a whole bunch of issues with you and that child.
Damn.
That's just the reality of the situation.
Amen.
And it should be a blessing, but that shit turns out to be a curse for black men a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna let y'all talk for a minute, man.
Yeah,
Can I also add? Can I add one more thing? I think I think fellas lack the foresight to see what can happen. Let's say you have a kid with someone, you're in your 20s, she's in her 20s. Fellas believe in, one, you're already, being a part-time parent, but once you allow for your baby mom or the mother of your child to be the main authority nurturer in your child's life, we'll say from 0 to 4, 0 to 5, you give up pretty much all future authority role for that child from about 8 to maybe 18. I think fellas tend to think that, oh yeah, it'll be all right. I'll pick up on the weekends, da da da. Over time, it'll be a little bit harder to pick your child up on the weekend, because life happens to the point where you will, not fade out completely, but you'll fade out a lot. And the child, as they grow, they see the mother as, the authority, the top dog of the family. The mother's word is going to be law. Mom can say anything, and her feelings, say anything about you, turn the child against you. Fellas try to come back, 18 through whatever years old. You don't have the authority to teach the young man, how to be responsible. And I think it's kind of like a cycle that goes on, that when you have kids at a young age, you try to play a part-time parent, you eventually fade out. Then you come back in and you try your best. But I think at that point, it's a little bit too late to be able to, prepare for the future for that
Yep.
child.
Can I put my 2 cents in real
Oh
quick?
yeah, be sure. Go ahead, man. Put your 2 cents. Put your
I,
3 cents. Put your 4.
I'm gonna give you 25. It's ill, right? Because like I think the past Mother's Day, I had came to an epiphany, and I wanted to tell one of my little mans, like, did your baby mother tell you thank you for making me someone? Because my theory, females are not important until they have a child. A man is always going to be important because you're always needed in this world. Until you give that female a child, she is nothing. So what homeboy was saying, my theory was if you're not there eating cereal with the kid, asking them what did you dream about in the morning, you ain't doing no father shit, period. You dig it? That you just a nigga that babysit your own kid, basically. But if you there every day, you there waking up with him, brushing teeth with him or her, wiping butts and all of that stuff, that's what you're supposed to be doing. But after Green Gorilla just broke it down, basically you don't have no rights over that child.
And
So
the deeper thing is, see, we could talk about rights. See, that's what the state does, right? But I'm talking about like what you just talked about, right? We as black men, increasingly, it's increasingly happening to white guys too. Don't get it twisted.
yeah, it is.
But we're living in a culture in which the imprint from infancy to adulthood, right, of fathers is being minimalized. It's diminishing. It's decreasing. So your imprint on the behavior, the values, right, the discipline is being attenuated, meaning like, putting some, water in the Kool-Aid to make it, spread it around. That's the shit that's occurring when it comes to men's impact over their children. Now, one could argue, okay, well, it was the case that men had, and this is white men, because I can't speak for black men. I mean, I can speak for black men. I can't speak for white men, but you get what I'm saying.
Yep.
I mean, the point is, in this country, black men came in as slaves, didn't have control over their children then. The children belonged to massa. They could be bought and sold. Okay? So, right at the point in which black men feel like they're beginning to have some impact over the children, psychologically, emotionally, value wise, culturally, is taken away, stripped away from him. And that's the situation black men are dealing with. And the biggest resource, the biggest engine that propels this beast forward is children and motherhood and the lionization of motherhood without the influence of the father. And this is where we are. And look, some of y'all have said it. I'm not the one who created it. These women, man, have basically, because you can't be a single parent and do the job effectively, especially if you have a career. Okay? You can't be with the child ensuring that they're getting the right kind of education if you're off working 1 or 2 jobs. Because then what you have to do is you have to give that child up over to either a public or a private institution, and that institution is educating your child.
Mm-hmm.
Not you. That institution is educating your child. It's inculcating them with its value system, not necessarily yours. And you don't go there because you don't have time to go there to determine what's being taught there and to oversee what the children are being taught and what they're being inculcated with in relation to value systems. So for the most part, your child has become imprinted by a secular governmental American institution that has never given a fuck about black kids. They only saw black kids as dollar signs. Either for the field picking cotton, or either the jail system, or a domestic somewhere. If you're a black girl, come here, mammy. We got something for you to do here. So this is the reality we're dealing with. And like women, for some reason, they don't mind being in this position. Even though it's not the best position, it won't lead to the most sweet fruit, if you get what I'm saying. It's not leading to the most effective, the most bountiful and robust and healthy fruit in the long run. I'm gonna let y'all take it over, man.
We lost our focus, GG. We're not in the business of raising world-class leaders. And then when do we ever have control over our body? I don't even think we really have control over our bodies.
No, you have control over your body now.
I mean, in a way,
no,
I would disagree.
Just
like last night, the Funky Academic put out an article last night that said, it was an article in 1940 after the Civil Rights, said Negro women to be put to work. City ordinance soon to be passed, requiring them to be regularly employed. So that pushed our women in the 40s, even my grandma, into a white women household where could be the worst employers there ever has been. And then I guess we used to have control over I guess when we used to have when we used to have our own control over our own schooling, when it was one room schoolhouses. And when those women got pregnant, the whole community shamed them, whether it was right or wrong. They had to put them in line. We don't have that control anymore. So I'm not sure if we really ever had control, Gigi.
No, even now. You have control of your body, and what he's saying is you giving them more power by busting a nut in her and giving her a baby. You have the control to say, you know what, I ain't even fucking with you, mom. Give me some mouth, or I ain't even having no time with you. You have that control right now.
See, the most important thing for men to understand is, and this is the power of the penis.
Thank you.
And for some reason, we don't think the penis is powerful. There are no children in existence without the penis, man. They don't come into existence without the penis.
Right.
Now, it's true that they don't come into existence without the pussy. I'm just saying it. All right, so we can get the shit out the way. Yes, there's power in the pussy or the womb, but also there's power in the penis, the phallus. Without the phallus and the vagina, there is no birth. Now, it's true.
I want to add something to that.
So men need to understand, like the ancient African societies, man, you got obelisks everywhere. Those are basically phallus symbols, man. They venerated the power of the penis. They knew the power that was there, the potency of their own member, right? Of their own anatomy. And it was lionized and looked up to. But as well as the feminine principle, okay? Or, womanliness, like the caves and all of that stuff that you walk into, the recesses, underground, that's like walking into the womb, okay? So I'm not saying that there's no veneration of womanhood at all going on there at all. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that there's an equal balance. They call it ma'at, okay? There's a ma'at principle undergirding the ancient African civilizations, especially, the Nile River Valley civilization, Kemet, Egypt, if you want to call it that, and even, Kush. right? So the idea is that your penis, man, and the seed that you spill forth, bruh, life is made through that. If you don't give her that, she can never be a mother. You make mothers. You make mothers. You actualize motherhood through sex. Those are the facts. A woman can't be a mother on her own unless she goes adopts a child. These are the facts. So you have to be, so men do take responsibility in this to some degree. We've created this monster.
You gotta
But it's
remember,
natural for us to create this monster. But see, the new social situations that we find ourselves in, this twisted world that we live in, is fucking what should be a natural phenomena is taking a what would normally be a blessing and converting it into a curse.
peep it. Without seed, the garden is just a whole bunch of dirt.
Hey, you said it. I ain't saying it. But I get. Look, there is no motherhood without manhood or the phallus. You don't even have to have manhood because you get what I'm saying. But there is no seed and egg interaction and the generation of a new human life form if there's no copulation and if there's not you just being loose with your seed. Like this old men told me this shit, but see, young people think they know everything, so they don't listen. They like the feelings that niggas fall in love too, bruh. Don't get it twisted. They fall in love with sex,
Right.
and they
Right.
fall in love with the communion that's taking place between them and that woman, and that's natural. But what happens when problems ensue, and the culture around you is telling you you don't even have to forethink or have any foresight into what it is that you're doing. You don't even have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like everybody's allowing this shit.
Mhm.
It's like it's cool. Like, like it's the shit to do, man. Like I know motherfucking mamas and daddies, man, that let their girlfriends stay over. These little girls stay over at their son's house, man. And they know they fucking.
Yeah, I want to add something to that.
Yeah, go ahead, man. I'm gonna stop
Hey,
talking
GG,
for
I
you.
want to add
I'm gonna
something to
stop
that.
talking. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna be real quick on it. I just want to say what's up to everybody in the chat, whatever. But I think birth control had a lot to do with it. Just as a man, we don't have many options when it comes to birth control other than like our own self awareness and that discipline. A lot of men aren't born with that due to them not having a father. And when you introduce these birth control contraceptives to women, it allows them to have sex with whoever they want to without the repercussions.
True.
So
Yeah,
so it,
that's
it like it's like it's a sexual, it's like the sex, we're living in a sexual revolution, whatever you call it. Help me out
revolution.
with that. But yeah, for women, you know what I mean? They can make these choices and sleep with men hoping that they slip up and have a child with them, and live off of that alone. That's all I got.
That's a. But you know what? That's a hell of a thing, man, for a man to realize that during the time that he felt that he was building something special with a woman, that in the back of her mind is this is my passport to all the social benefits that come along with being a mother. Fuck you, pay me. Literally. You get what I'm saying? Literally. Fuck you, pay me. Give a whole new understanding to the phrase, don't it?
Yeah,
They like Thanos collecting
yeah.
collecting stones. The more
All I can say is, man,
more
Say
power.
you
that
gotta
again.
teach.
Say that again.
They like Thanos collecting the colored stones for his 4-finger ring, and the more stones they get, the more power they get. So she gets
Right.
Bob's
That's
away.
how they look on dating apps. That's how they look on dating apps with when they already got children and they trying to find another man. That's how they look on dating apps. They looking for another man.
Mm-hmm. So brothers just gotta protect their seed, like G saying, man. You can have sex, but you don't have to have a baby.
You don't have to have a baby, man. You know, this ain't 1800s. They had prophylactics back then though. But I mean, the whole thing is men, like I could see the reaction to women, man, who after a certain period of time, you keep smashing them with a rubber, they're gonna be like, well, why you ain't doing me, without this rubber? Like, cause I ain't married to you and I don't intend on having no kids. So if I intended to have kids, I'll be up in you raw.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? But I don't intend to have kids. I had conversations with you prior about us not having kids. So you want me to relax my behavior and inject semen into you to what avail? I already done been down this road 2 times. And it ain't never,
Right.
I ain't saying it ain't been the way I expected it.
But yo, you know what? It's illa because black men like women are validation for us. So it's hard to tell a nigga not to be chasing and doing all of this stuff because then he's gonna feel incomplete.
Man, we got to stop that shit. That it ain't necessarily simp shit,
It's
but to
bread.
me, it's dumb shit.
It's
Okay, so to me, it's this is what I think. As an older man, I'm 50 years old, but like when I was young, motherfuckers used to clown each other. I don't know who got the clacking and clicking going on, but I'm gonna have to figure that out because there's a lot of clacking and clicking. But as a young man, guys would joan on each other and play the dozens with each other, like you ain't got no pussy, man, and how many weeks or months or like that's the thing to do to clown each other on who's having access to sex and who's not. But when you think about it, in the end, it's about first of all it's a distraction, man, for you to engage in that kind of relationship, and it's not right. It's the biggest distraction of your life. Not so much for her as it is for you, because she can get support if she makes the mistake. If you make the mistake, you have to pay for the fact. This is what men complain about when they talk about accountability. And yeah, it's hard for a woman to take care of a child on her own, but god damn it, women are the ones who are the gatekeepers of chastity and reproduction. But men have to be the custodians of their own seed. Because you can't make a baby mama if you ain't fucking a baby mama. Bottom line. Well,
right.
if you the only ones that can make a baby mama.
Hallelujah.
So don't fuck her raw. Period. But things can happen with the condom. But unless you in a position to where you and this woman gonna build, but even then, shit can go awry. You can think you building, and the next thing you know, that shit's coming down like a what they call it, like a wrecking ball.
Mm-hmm.
You can think everything is cool, and the shit can switch up just that fast. And then you left. This is why the laws are necessary. But man, men gotta be more careful about what they're doing out here. And then you got some dudes that's just nasty and dirty, man. They'll fuck anything, and that's all they live for. They're like pigs. All they do is just think with their penis.
It's just too much value on sex, man. We got niggas that shame their homeboy because he don't get no pussy, knowing the nigga can't even read. Like, bro, like, shame the nigga because he can't read. Fuck pussy. Like,
Exactly.
it's,
I agree with you, bro.
it's ridiculous right now. Niggas don't have no cribs, but they got mad bit. So it's like we really got, as black men, we really we valuing shit like teenage girls right now.
Man, Negroes got to wake up and understand that it's bigger than sex. And you can have sex, but just don't sire children, man, because it's going to end up ruining you. It's not going to ruin you, but it's going to
Ruin you.
take away from your own value.
Mhm. Two
Slow you
things, G.
down.
Uh, earlier you were saying about we just hooking up, we not building nothing. Fellas got a difference between, you know, as they say, situationships, relationships, and just, you know, hooking up. Uh, if you were in a situationship, hook up or whatever, you got to know to you just got to know not, she can't get pregnant by any means necessary. All right, she just can't get pregnant. Relationship, you can be a little bit more lax. It might have potential to have a kid, but some girls just do not need to have a kid at all, and you got to know that, you know, in the talking stage, in the DM stage, even in the actual act, you got to know this girl cannot get pregnant by any means. Like, no matter what, I got to make sure she can't get pregnant. Second thing, I don't think the problem with fellas isn't so much having children, although that is the big problem. The big problem is that fellas have is raising their children. Like I said earlier, fellas think that you can play part-time parent and it'll work. It'll just sort itself out, and that's not the case at all. If you're going to play part-time parent, you got to make sure, like the brother said earlier, you got to be there wiping the butt. You got to be there, you know, when kindergarten and primary school comes and the teacher says, "Hey, he's a little bit active. We got to put him on medicine." You got to be there to shut that down. You got to be there to get him involved in his talents and passions. That's what fellas also got to learn. The child is here already. You can't go back and forth and wrestle about, oh well, I want to live my life. No, you got to know, all right, this is my child, not the best situation, it's not ideal, but I got to do what I got to do to make sure that this child has the best opportunity to succeed. And I think that's what fellas, especially young dudes, uh, do not, that's not drilled into their heads, you know, when going into the dating scene. So I think that's just my two, you know, my two thoughts on it.
Good thoughts. Good thoughts. Shout out to Black Squirrel 404 for the super chat. Appreciate you, sir. I see you in the house, BGS, man. Thank you for holding me down in the chat. Appreciate that. Um, you know, the only thing I can say is, bruh, you know, man, you find your purpose apart from women. Like I told you, and I've said it to the people who listen to my channel all the time. Like, if I'm by myself and I'm focused and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I got 100% chance of succeeding in whatever endeavor it is that I'm undertaking, because I am focused. I'm a T crosser and an I dotter, so I'm going to get my work done. But then throw into the mix this other element, another individual with a host of demands and expectations, whether they're realistic or unrealistic, a whole different set of emotional proclivities, most of which is designed to keep you off balance and to test you, you know, not to lift you up, but to extort you and to manipulate you into getting them to do what you want. Not even what's best for the whole, but just what's best for her at the time. If you consistently have to deal with that kind of behavior and there's no permanency or no loyalty or fidelity to that relationship, you got to, first of all, you got to cut that shit off. If there's too many ups and downs, that's not the shit that's for you, because it's going to throw you off your purpose. That's like, you know, even though she's come under fire from the manosphere recently, you know, Shahrazad Ali, you know, she once did say, you know, like, damn, black men got to fight the whole world, then come home, then they got to fight the woman. No other group of motherfuckers got to do all that shit. Because, you know, you got to handle her. You got to be able to control her. You got to be able to deal with her shit. And she need a strong motherfucker to, like, come on, man. No, you mean you want somebody who's willing to endure abuse? Emotional, physical, financial. So, in other words, I have to deal with your idiosyncratic, chaotic behavior that's leading us nowhere other than you getting what the fuck you want. So I got to learn how to abide by the principles of narcissism and gaslighting. That's bullshit. We got to grow up,
Hey,
man, as a group of
GG.
people, man. It's not just women that got to grow up. It's men too. Because men got to say, you know, like the one thing peep this out. I'm gonna do a show on this shit. Rappers been red pill. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, fuck this. Only to the extent it's changed now. You know, post Biggie Smalls and P Diddy, they got on that sucker shit. They was the biggest simps in the industry. Prior to them dudes, motherfuckers was like, I ain't the one. They was like, fuck these hoes. I'm fucking these bitches. And then I'm cutting them off. It don't take shit for me to cut them off. Then all of a sudden, Biggie Smalls, Puff Daddy and shit, I can buy you, girl. I can take you around the world. I can buy you this. I can buy you that. And men were already simps to some degree anyway. But
you had Biz Markie with the papers putting you on to game. Now,
even Slick Rick, treat him like a prostitute. Don't treat the girlie well until you show it a school. I mean, I'm not saying that.
Rap music had me red pill in middle school.
Hey, GG.
Yeah.
Hey, GG. Speak on you know, rap in the '90s. How, you know, most of the rappers were red pill, and speak on, like, you know, R&B. You know, there was a whole different side that was more blue pill. You know what I mean?
But let me tell you, okay,
the R. Kellys. You know what I'm saying?
Woo! See, Jodeci came along and turned R&B into hip hop. But I mean, like, Teddy Riley was responsible for this shit too, to some degree. Okay, but Guy was. We talking about the music. Okay, so there's a differentiation between the rapping and the production. Okay, so Teddy Riley is the first person to kind of, as far as to the best of my knowledge, one of the first to kind of blend hip hop and R&B together in a way that hadn't been done before. Okay, he produced a lot of records for East Coast artists back in the day, from Dougie, like the show. This is called The Show. 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh. That's Teddy Riley right there. Heavy D, Mr. Big Stuff, all that shit. That is Teddy Riley. Okay.
New Jack Swing.
New Jack Swing. So then Jodeci come along, and oddly enough, it's Puffy who put the shit out there. So these dudes, but Jodeci still was on that old, I love you, baby. I believe in love and the promise that it gives. I want to love you for life because your life is why, your love is why I live, and all this kind of shit. But then, you know, they kind of swing back and forth between that red pill and the blue pill. So it's like they couldn't make their minds up, you know, but which is what the typical man goes through. It's like phases, you know what I'm saying? Because men aren't consistent with this shit. Because all it takes is a big old fat old ass, and she throwing that pussy on you for about a good 3-4 months. Next thing you know, you back into the blue pill range. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. Because if you're a man, you know. Okay? So then you got BBD, then you got, you know, H-Town and all this kind of shit. Then it got more and more and more crass. And so now you do have R&B, you know, singers now who on some red pill shit. Like, you know, but then they go back and forth, they oscillate. Like Chris Brown. These hoes ain't loyal to now, you know, to some new song where it's like, you know, baby, you're my fantasy, you my ecstasy and shit like that. But a lot, you know, but in the 90s, man, bruh, it was, these songs were young men like, man, these bitches are out here acting crazy, bruh. Fuck them. Fuck these hoes. That's what these young guys were on. Now many of them got married and they grew up, okay, and they found wives. But these are, you know, some men who probably going through some weird shit with their wives. Don't know. But having a wife is a hell of a thing, bruh. I'm telling you, having a woman is a hell of a responsibility. It's not stable the way it used to be, because relationships that are, you know, like marriage relationships are not how they used to be. It used to be familial. Now it's all this romantic love shit. Like, fuck all that, man. Like, these women have to understand all this love, fanatical love shit. There ain't nobody on earth you're gonna find that's gonna make you feel like that, man. You gotta be, you know, confident and secure in your goddamn self. You have to find joy and happiness in yourself and in the relationship. All this whole, well, I need a, this new fangled shot of oxytocin or some shit, man. This is bullshit. But today, man, all I can say is, man, it's listen to this rap today. It's still a lot of these young cats on some red pill shit. All over the rap, music right now. But the odd thing is, a lot of these guys, as soon as it's some political shit being said, they'll come out like and denounce the manosphere or some shit like that. These that's the oddest shit in the world to me. To hear a motherfucker talking about hoes and bitches, fuck these bitches, I'm a pimp, she's a hoe, break the chain, let her go. Then the next thing he talking about, well, you gotta respect our women, love our women. And hold on, dog. Your whole career was based on getting Negroes' minds right to not deal with bullshit from women, but now you doing the E40, Captain Save 'em. Huh? And one of the dopest talking about E40. That's the original red pill song right there, bro. When I was coming up,
right. Yeah, Tupac.
Could I save her?
Yeah, Pac was like that too. Pac was like that. Spice One. A lot of those cats on the West was like that coming up.
Yeah, I was raised on the West Coast. I was born in 1973, so I remember when rap music didn't exist, and when it did, I listen to rappers that it started off as East Coast. But when that West Coast gangster rap came, boy, let me tell you, man, it just captured the minds of pretty much everybody on the West Coast, and then around the country. And I was red pill in middle school because of that. I used to listen to Ice-T, Eazy-E, NWA, just all these West Coast rappers, starting in LA, then all the way up to really Seattle. And that really gave me a strong sense of how to deal with women uh, in a way that reflected the society. So I had no misgivings. I wasn't blue pill. I didn't. There were no illusions about women because my favorite genre of music taught me everything that I needed to know in a hardcore fashion. So I was jaded. I was bitter towards women in some ways without actually having terrible experiences. But I knew I had to watch out because my favorite rappers told me, man, you got to watch these, who's. And so I think what's real interesting too is that is rap music tells a story, and so part of this too, the gynocracy and how black men and black women themselves, how we get caught up into this gynocratic trap is the stories that we tell ourselves, and I call it the redemption story. And really, I think it's just a permutation perhaps of the hero's journey, which is something that maybe all stories kind of consist of the hero's journey to some degree. But I think part of the hero's journey is you have a person and he's kind of lost, and then he's met with a task. Or with a journey to take, but then he says no to the journey, and then he has some type of awakening, and then he goes on that journey, and then comes back. It's something like that. Well, I think part of the redemption story for black men and black women is when we're reluctant to go on that journey, to do things the right way, to go conquer and kick ass in life, instead of just shying away. Nah, nah, nah. Niggas is hardcore. We don't just do shit and shy away. No, we gonna tear shit up. So part of this black redemption story for a black man would be getting into the penitentiary, getting into the streets, selling dope. You become a criminal, violent, maybe a violent criminal. You might join a gang, and then you grow, get a little bit older, you get more mature, you go back to school, you get your education, then you go back to the community, and you help rebuild the community. And you see this all the time. You hear these stories all the time, and then and that's why you hear a lot of black men say, "No, we need these educated black men to come back to the community and help build it up." Or they say, we only gang members to talk to other gang members about gang life, and to stop them from shooting other gang members. And so you see this redemption story, and it's a very toxic story for black men and for black women. But this is a story that we don't necessarily tell ourselves, like look in the mirror and say this or have these conversations one on one, but it's just kind of built into the fabric of the culture. And for black women, it's similar. and it's for them. Well, black men ain't shit, niggas ain't shit, and I might be 8 years old, but I already know I'm going to have a rough, tumultuous dating life. So I'm just going to be an asshole to men. And then, maybe I'll be a single mom young, and then I'll go back to college and go to school and get my degree. And then, by the time I'm 37 and my kid's a senior in high school, I'll go get, Dr. Boyce Watkins or Russell Wilson, and he's going to be my knight in shining armor to take me off and make life easier for me. And if it's not a single mom before the education, a lot of times women get their college degree and but these black men are so horrible, and one of them got me pregnant, and then we got divorced or whatever it was, and now I'm a single mom, and I still need saving by some stepdad when I'm 42. And so these are the stories that we tell ourselves. And I think what's really interesting with that is that what the Black Manosphere has done is given black men a voice. We all know this, and it's allowed us to tell our stories to ourselves, about ourselves, and share it to the world. So, one thing that I think is going to happen here, it's only just a matter of time, and the sooner the better, is when we can get rappers clipping you, Dr. Gigi, clipping BGS, clipping Kevin Samuels, really any Black Manosphere content creator, and putting those sound bites in the movie. The same way I grew up listening to Eazy-E and NWA on the West Coast. They had these crazy what do you call them? Not sound bites. They kind of got a name for that, where they drop them into the music, and it just adds this color and richness to it. Just gives it this flavor, and start telling these new stories about ourselves. And so instead of our redemption story, us going backwards, maybe we're reluctant to do it right the first way, but we're not going to be, fucking up big time. Instead, we're going to build something for one another. Now, lastly, I just want to say this one last thing too, because guys are talking about wearing a condom and protecting oneself. And part of being red pill is you've got to protect yourself against this demon pussy. Excuse my French, but this demon pussy will, and I don't mean any woman who's willing to trap you with a baby, because there's a lot of them, no matter what demographic they come from. If you're a man who's on point and a woman wants you, she wants you, she wants you. Doesn't matter where she comes from, what she looks like, what her social economic status is. You could get trapped by a lot of different women out here, and the old okie doke, they tell you they're on birth control, and then they stop taking it, and all of a sudden, boom, you got a baby. And I think one thing that I've always said, and I get pushback on this, but a lot of guys, you know how it is. You might hit 3 times with a rubber, and then both of you guys are like, no, it's safe now. We had condoms with 3 times in a row. Well, you better use the pull-out method. That pull-out method can save your black ass. And it ain't going to protect you from any disease. But if you look at the back of any condom, you go to any website on the efficacy of contraceptives, what you'll find is that the pull-out method is only a few points. It's like 5 or 6 percentage points underneath condom usage. So the pull-out method is very effective. It's something that I don't recommend for young brothers to do, but I kind of do recommend it because I know y'all ain't gonna be wearing condoms the way you need to be. So I just want to leave you guys with that.
Nigga, put a condom on. What are you talking about, bro? Like, come on, this is the shit. Yo, what the?
Well, hold on. Let's be respectful though. We ain't gonna get disrespectful.
My
But I
brother,
mean, so I mean,
sorry about that.
well, I get your point. I get it. Like I was just about to say it myself. Hey, you might have that pull-out game. I personally, I'm not gonna even have to even entertain the pull-out game because I'm gonna be cool with that condom. All I'm gonna do is slip that motherfucker on, and if that shit, I got plenty of lubricants and shit. KY liquid, KY heated liquid, cool down liquid, whatever the fuck you want to do to keep it pushing, we can do that.
So
Okay.
everybody forgot
But
about.
I'm not about to go up. I'm not ODB, baby.
So did he?
I don't necessarily. But I played. Apparently, I've done the raw game. Okay, I've done it.
But did he forget about pre-cum? He just totally negated that whole shit that you could get pregnant off of pre-cum.
Well, that's true, but I'm not negating anything. I'm giving you scientific facts. Now you can argue with the facts. You can argue with the scientific facts. Look at the efficacy of birth control, including pre-cum. And it's only a few percentage points lower than condom use. Condoms break. A lot of dudes don't like wearing condoms. I'm just telling you what the what is. It's counterintuitive. It's counterintuitive, and it doesn't sound responsible. But in fact, it is responsible because it's not that worse than using a condom. Not like people think that it is.
Well, let's ask the doctor, bro. You're putting your penis in the vagina while it has cum already on it. If you're not putting a condom on, and a female can get pregnant from pre-cum, is this not a fact?
I mean, look, we know it is a fact that you got
So
what they
his
call
ass is
tumescence. That's the technical the technical term is tumescence. Okay. Yes, there are sperms existent within tumescence. All right, but I think the brother is just trying to highlight, it's best for you to wear a condom, but if you can't control yourself to the extent to which you can, not go without one, at least pull out and do some and do the porn star shit.
But the
You know what I'm
tobacco
saying?
is already there.
It's
I'm
better
just
than
saying,
nothing.
I'm not saying, look, I
You didn't put
personally,
in the scene.
Bro,
this, but
well, here's the
let's
thing.
not lose. Hold on, wait a minute before either one of you speak. Let me just say this: what you both have in common, in my viewpoint, apart from hair splitting and getting into the minor details, you both are basically putting forth the idea that men should be protective of their sperm as much as possible. Okay, so let's not get caught in the minutia of this and have like this offshoot argument and take us off on a tangent so far down the road that we don't stick to the script.
Thank you,
And the
brother. You
script
got it.
and the script is basically this: children are the currency, the assets of the gynocracy. That's what causes the gynocracy. The gynocracy in and of itself is centered around parental control over children. And black men, as BGS would say and has said on multiple occasions, beta male orbiters, where you don't have full control like God over your children. You should be a lord over your children, not a person who has to come stand before a judge and have to shell out money but still get attenuated visits and supervised visits and like that baby's dad, like I'm your uncle daddy shit. That's bullshit, man. But that's the role black men have been forced to play in the culture in which we now live. Okay? And I'm not saying that's the case for all men. I'm not all black men, because a lot of black men have deep involvement with their children. But the way that it is now, it's a situation in which a lot of women are basically rearing children on their own, and the government is willing to subsidize this kind of arrangement. It is in place because the government and the Great Society has put it in place. Okay? Now the question is, it would to be perfectly honest, it wouldn't have the same stinging effect if it was the case that everyone had benefits universally, male nor or female, man, woman, or child. If everybody had expanded health care and social benefits, this wouldn't be an issue. But the fact that this society basically does not have any safety nets for single men, especially single black men. And I think it was devised this way. I did a show on this not too long ago. Why doesn't the United States have the same kind of healthcare and social programs that Europe does? Well, one of the reasons is because of the racial, stratification that exists in this country, and the idea that cutting off these kind of benefits will work to the detriment of racial demographics that they don't like, namely black folks or Hispanic folks or Native American folks. The list goes on. Okay, so I got some other people. Black's Word 404 just came in. He's one of my members. What's good with you, Black?
Hey, Gigi, I'm out of here. I just want to say thanks for having me on. I'm out of here. It was good talking to you. Shout out to the panelists and the chat. I'm out.
All right, my brother. Be good. So, So the video is all about, what is the engine that drives the gynocracy? And, at the end of the day, I feel like we are all participants in the gynocracy. We add fuel to the engine because we help produce the engine that drives it. Man, I saw a young brother, man, not too long ago, man, and he was like, "Yeah, I got my first kid on the way." I was like, "Damn, okay." And usually when people are supposed to be overjoyed by this. It's supposed to be an occasion for jubilation. And for me, I shook my head, and I didn't want to be off-putting to the young brother, but because I know what could potentially go wrong, especially with the way it was done in his situation. So he's not married to the woman. They got a relationship, they fucking. Okay? Everything cool while you fucking and everything is good. But what happens when you stop fucking and that reality kicks in, and then she got her little idiosyncrasies, you got your little idiosyncrasies, and troubles arise. And it's
They
just too
got you.
easy. It's too easy nowadays for people to say, okay, I don't like this commitment, I want another one. It's like, this ain't a fucking mall. This is not a situation where, okay, I can go get another one. I can go get another one. I can go get another one. This ain't a car. This ain't a pair of shoes. Oh, I don't want to wear those shoes anymore. I want a new pair. This ain't what this is about. But this consumer culture and this I can do whatever I want, this is my freedom shit, it's created these conditions. And who suffers the most? The engine itself. So we fucking up the engine all across the board for the sake of what? It's like putting diesel fuel in a fucking unleaded engine. Is what we're doing.
Well,
And
BGS had a. Oh, never mind.
that's just my opinion, man. Look, y'all might have some different opinions about it, but if men, I'm not saying men, there's no way in hell men gonna stop fucking women raw. I know it ain't. The nature is against it. Because one of the first imperatives of any biological organism is to reproduce. Food, sex, and shelter. And clothing. Food, clothing, sex, and shelter. Or some of the, primary needs that human beings have. But I mean, goddamn, reproduction at whose cost? It doesn't cost them very much. They say it does because, I got to deal with this all by myself. You chose to deal with that shit by yourself. You didn't have to do that. A lot of these women are lying, man. He's such a dirtbag. He made me. Look, some cases are like that, where you got a man that's just like, fuck it. I'm on to, just like the woman is. I'm on to something new. But the vast majority of men I've seen, man, I cannot say that that's how they treated their children, man. I think this shit is a lie. All this deadbeat daddy shit is a bunch of bullshit.
That's narrative.
And these women are making motherfucking men deadbeats because they don't want to have to deal with the fucking arbitrary ignorance related to the women. And the women really actually using the system. Like it's the one brother, I forget what his name is, man. He always talk about it, the baby mama terrorist shit. Mr. Palmer, I think his name might be. But it's a lot of baby mama terrorists out here, bro. And they'll use the system in order to get and extract resources from you, and you don't have any impact over the life of that child. She's the one that has the impact, and you just a fucking donor and an ATM. That's it. A
That's the
sperm
mating
donor and an
strategy.
ATM. That's not a mating. That's a mating strategy that's going to work in the short term, but it's not working for the benefit of the kid in the long run, and it definitely ain't building a better black community in the long run. It's creating
But
a whole
you,
bunch of fuckery.
but you assuming that they care about the black community. They care about themselves more than anything else, even more so than
Man.
their children.
And that's hey, I agree. It's the epitome of narcissism as far as I'm concerned. Because now you're not even worried about the child as much as you're worried about what you can get by having that child. But this is the conditions that were brought forth by slavery, bro. Where women had to fuck to be free. Well, not fuck to be free,
Hey,
but reproduce to be free. This is real
hey,
shit.
GG. Earlier, you said that motherhood was an asset to women, and what you're talking about right now is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, this is my brother C. Smith the Ruler. He just gave me a donation. Thank you, sir, for the generous donation. Appreciate that, my brother. And he asked the question: does spermicide work statistically? I'm not like, I'm not Dr. Ruth or no shit like this. But the effectiveness of spermicide it's 72% effective, is what they say. What is the effectiveness of spermicide? So it's 72% effective at preventing pregnancy. But using spermicide by itself isn't the best way or the most effective way to prevent pregnancy, but it's better than not using any birth control at all.
Better
Okay?
stock up on morning after pills.
Hey, what that boy say? I hit her raw and made her take a plan B. What's the name of that guy? I'm just stunting on my ex bitch. 21 Savage? 21.
It's 21. Yeah,
Yeah,
21.
I made her take a plan B. I mean, but you gotta,
No,
that's
but
on her. That's on her. You got to be on you. See, I'm not even having a situation where the plan B gonna become an issue for me. Cause I'm not nothing to no girl raw, man. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not, I've done it already. I did it twice. Okay. Won't be me doing it again. Sorry. I wouldn't do it. Unless it's my wife. I'm trying to build a legacy again at 50. I'm trying to start a family at 50 again. That's if I decide to do that. But it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of time, effort, and energy that goes into that. I wanted to do this shit when I was like a young man. I ain't want to, go into 50 years old like, oh, I'm about to have a family now. I wanted to do this shit as a young man and be successful at it. I didn't want to have to go through all this fuckery. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to go through having to pay 18 years of child support, dealing with an ignorant ass child because her mother was ignorant, filling her head with a bunch of ignorant shit. Nobody wants to deal with that, man. But see, this is what the system has brought into fruition. It's brought about children as bargaining chips, as assets for one demographic and detrimental pieces to everyone else's. And that's fucked up. And that's just, it's fucked up, man. Because this
But it
is not how it's
also,
supposed to be. But see, here's the difference though. See, if a man has a family and he's considered to be a patriarch, typically that man's not going to abandon his family. Do you get what I'm saying? Typically men, knowing that they have control over their family, they're going to stay with that family. Okay? Now, I'm not saying all men are going to do it wisely, but men typically are not the ones who leave these familial relationships to begin with. It's women.
Yep.
yeah, they say
It's
80% is initiated by women. 80% of divorces have been initiated by women.
so it's them, but the only thing that's oxymoronic about it is they're the ones demanding all of this loyalty and fidelity and all these resources and all this love and shit. You're the ones demanding it. I want a stable relationship. I want a man who I want. Well, why do your actions not fucking demonstrate that that's what you fucking want?
because that's not actually what they want. That's just what they tell you. What they
Exactly. I think
actually
it's a lie.
want, they want your money, and then they want to still be able to go out and have their fun and do hot girl summers and everything like that. But they
Yeah.
can't say it because if they said it, you wouldn't go for it.
So, yeah, it's kind of they basically they want black men's undying loyalty while they have their unconditional freedom, and they want to be able to basically do as they want and still be able to rely on you as a father, as a spouse, to always be there and be the same regardless of what they do. They want you to be indifferent to their behavior and love them regardless of their behavior. And if you don't, then you are the problem, and you just you're the problem at the end of the day.
And
That's really
that's
what
some
they want,
absolute bullshit, man. These
and that's
women
like
know that these
that's
women
like
are not. Men are the ones who are dumb for going for this shit.
well
But
that's why
we've been taught to do this though. We have been trained by media, by our mothers, by all the women in the community, by the fucking the R&B music, all this shit. We've been influenced to take care of women and to try to understand them and to be nice and caring and kind and loving and romantic and all this shit. Look, at the end of the day, if it's fuck me, it's fuck you too. If you on some bullshitting around the house, fuck you, bitch. I'm high, I'm rolling out. Fuck you. I ain't got
right.
time to be playing games with you in this house. You ain't the only slot out here either. You ain't the only pussy hole out here either. Now, mind you, you know what I'm saying? I'm comfortable with this pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the type of dude I got to sow my fucking seeds everywhere. I done too much already, man. I don't need to be out here fucking everything that moves to demonstrate that I'm a bull. I don't need all that. And I don't need, men need stability. The men thrive off responsibility and stability. That's what we thrive off of. Men thrive off of loyalty. But these motherfuckers thrive off euphoric feelings of emotions, I guess. I don't know, man. I can't speak for them. But all I know is at the end of the day, part of being a man means being able to have impact over the life of your children that you sire. Not somebody else's children, which is the most unique shit in the world, where you can have, like, ask these women, real talk, ask these women and tell them directly, look here, and I don't mean to be rude by saying it, look here, bitch, you gonna love my kids like you love yours? Keep it 100, keep it funky with our ass. Look here, you gonna take my kids in like I'm supposed to be taking yours in? You gonna wipe the crust out their eye and shit? You gonna love yours and mine the same way? Stop bullshitting. Because you're not. You're gonna look after yours first. Cut the malarkey out, man. Cut the bullshit out. You expecting for men to do some shit that's unnatural for you. What part of the game is that bullshit right there? You motherfuckers ain't having choices and desires to be with a whole bunch of men that got fucking multiple kids. You want the highest value so-called motherfucker that exists. You want the nigga that's blemishless. You want a new car from the car lot, and you just don't want a fucking basic model. You want the motherfucking the BMG motherfucking Benzo. You want the Maybach. You dig what I'm saying? You want that. You want the best shit on the lot.
Yeah, but that's only crazy if she can't get it. If she gets it, it's not crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, bro. Like, it ain't that many motherfuckers to go around, man.
There's a
Look,
lot of simps out here.
No, it becomes
bro.
crazy when they all expect to get the best car in the lot. No, like they all can't get the best car in the lot. They can take turns driving it, but they ain't gonna get if it's like one car and 100 girls. They can't all have that one car.
But look, here's the deal. But they got bodies though. They call us too. So like, okay, so we in a caravan, but I'm supposed to be the head driver of the caravan, leading the caravan, or we driving in tandem, whatever the fuck, however you want to envision a relationship. But you got passengers in your car, and I'm supposed to get out of my car, go look after all the shit going on in your car, but you ain't never supposed to come in my car and see what the fuck I got going on in this bitch. You ain't never supposed to pay attention. Right now, it's gotten so bad, bro, to the point where they like, okay, like the Destiny's Child song, I want to cater to you. They trying to cancel that shit now. Like catering to your man is something that you shouldn't do. Like fuck that nigga. You don't cater to this. But how can you even expect for a man to cater to you? You want a man to pay your bills. You want a man to fucking take care of your kids like they're his own, and to give you allowances and spending money and take care of your hair, your nails, all that fake shit anyway. This it unnecessary. The women of yore didn't have to fuck with or deal with. Now we gotta do all this, but you can't make a motherfucker a sandwich. You can't get a nigga a beer and rub his feet or some shit. You can't do that at all. Fuck catering to the nigga. But he supposed to cater to everything in your life, even life he didn't even bring into the world. If that's not the epitome of some selfish shit and some delusional shit, which it is delusional, because it can't actually happen the way these women want it to happen. And they know it can't happen. This is another reason why they keep control. So if you come into the picture and you're not that kid's father, they already know that kid is not going to have deference for you in the same way that they would with their own fucking father. They already know this shit. This is why they enjoy relationships like the stepdaddy shit. They know that, man. But anytime I dealt with a woman with kids, man, I'm like, look, if I can't get that motherfucker into the front lean and rest position and discipline his ass, I don't want to have shit to do with you. Because if I can't tell this little motherfucker what to do and he all up in my crib acting like a goddamn animal, then he got to get the fuck out of here. I put you and his ass out in the street.
You got to judge the mother by the children. If the children are unruly, she's unruly. If they don't honor authority, then neither does she.
But I wouldn't deal with a woman with kids no more to save my motherfucking life. Because it's too much bullshit with it. Even though I got kids, my kids grown now though, so I don't give a damn. But dealing with that situation, man, is they know exactly what's going on ahead of time. That is their patriarchal power right there. I call it it's a fucking black female patriarchy is what the fuck it is. And they know it is. They know they are able to maintain control because mama's baby, daddy's maybe. They got it to the point now where even the real fucking daddy don't have no power. So if the real daddy ain't got no fucking power, how the fuck your ass gonna come into the situation and have some power? Huh? You just a temporary nigga filling in to patch up some shit. These women know this, man. They are not dumb, man. Instinctively, they know what the fuck is going on with this. But they'll play this gaslighting game with you, but only if we fall for it, bro.
That's true. See,
only if we fall for this shit, man. And I ain't gonna say I ain't never failed for it, because I have been the simp that fell for it. I'm keeping it 100. I ain't got time to lie to y'all and play no fucking games. Like I have had my simp moments. But if you can reduce those moments, it'll make your life a whole lot fucking better. I can tell you that.
Hey, can I put my 2 cents in real quick, man? Shout out to Green Gorilla. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I just think, man, it comes from inferiority complex in most women. Like they already know that man is stronger, more intelligent. He has a good spirit. He's gonna do what's naturally right, and like they don't have the same morals, so they have to literally use your children against you. They literally don't have any other power but to destroy. Like they don't have the same strength that men have. You see what I'm saying? So I think the whole gynocracy, to answer the question of what fuels the gynocracy, I think it's just rebellion. They just want to rebel against God. They want to rebel against the power of man. And they want to feel like they have their own power, even if it's power that's not really in the right way. Even if their only power is to destroy, they'll take that because that is their power. You feel what I'm saying?
You ever read Atlas Shrugged?
And Ayn Rand?
Yeah,
I
Yeah, I've
heard of it.
read it. I've read it. I've taught it.
yeah. The people on there, well, the takers, their whole point was their needing this from you was what gave them the power to take from you because you were honorable and you
Exactly.
always would work. They always had something to take from you.
They'll
So
use that power
your
against you. Your
virtue
own
was used
morals used
against
against you.
you.
Well,
Yeah.
they do that. They do that with black men by calling them deadbeats. I mean, I've seen black men who, as soon as he got the girl pregnant, she was already saying you're a deadbeat. They weaponize morality against black men all the time. I mean, weaponized morality is about black women's most effective tool, and that's why they're so upset with this space is because when you shine a light on how a lot of the stuff they've been using to talk about black men and belittle the character of black men over the last couple decades, once that's shined a light to be false, they lose the morality argument. They lose the high ground on morality. Therefore, they lose the power they have over black men.
Well, it's going to be a whole bunch of guys, man, who are not going to look after their own interests because they've been taught that looking after their interests today is, is somehow malevolent. It's toxic.
Yeah.
I just don't see it, like the reverse being any more benevolent excuse me. I don't see the reverse being any more, any less evil than what they considered was evil to begin with. So now you've taken the power away from men altogether, giving it all to women in relation to children, and that's a net positive.
Mhm.
Now the children are the sole possession of the women primarily. First of all, that this is a crazy culture we live in, bro. And I would encourage any young black man, protect your seed, bro. Your seed is what makes mothers. They can't do it alone unless they get touched by Zeus or fucking, you know, you know, God the Father or fucking, Alsar. And even Alsar had to have his penis reconnected and ISIS hover over the motherfucker. So at the end of the day, you make mothers. Just stop making baby mamas, man. Stop making the motherfuckers. It ain't a good look for us. And we're the
Mm.
ones that control that. We control whether or not women become mothers for real.
That's crazy. Because by you saying that, you're basically saying drop the birth rate in America, I mean, for Black Americans, basically down to zero, because
I
all
ain't,
these
I
women
ain't
are
say,
baby mothers at heart.
I ain't saying break them all down to zero, but
No, they're all
man,
baby mothers by heart. I mean, you're pretty much gonna have to. You're basically saying to most men don't have kids because most men can't have kids with the few ones that are actually quality out here because there's only a few. So basically, yeah, just stop reproducing with black women altogether because mostly all black women's mindset is one of a baby mother. Like you're a baby mother before you even have a child. It's a mindset, and that's the typical mindset of mostly all black women today. So just
yeah, we
stop
got to
having kids
shake
with them
that.
altogether.
That shit
Yeah,
has to be shaken.
yeah.
Just
Ultimately,
because you can't focus on you if you focused on dealing with a whole bunch of fucking bullshit with a woman who's got the mind state that's her kid, and you can see this motherfucker when I want you to. That's some
Hmm.
bullshit.
but that's
Nah,
the
nah,
deal,
nah.
right? That's the deal. That's the only way it works now.
Pretty much.
So you can't really have a children. You can't have a child with any woman in Western society without accepting that deal. It's her child. It's
And
not
she's
Yeah,
a
I
baby
yours.
was.
mother at heart. It's her child, and she's a baby mother at heart. And one day that
But
will manifest
but what's
itself. So
happening? But what's happening is a lot of men outside these. You gotta realize this space is very small. Most men are gonna take that deal. So that
mm.
still creates the problem of a lot of fatherless children. You get what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah,
Well,
but
see,
the
you know
thing
what?
about
Here's the thing, though. Most men don't even know that that's the deal that they're getting into.
That
That's the
is true.
problem.
Right,
That's the
right,
problem. See,
right.
black men think, okay, I'm the man. She making you feel like a man. You smashing her, knocking her down. Y'all having hot, steamy sex, whatever the case may be. She, acting like a woman then. But then here comes the issues. Okay, and then after the issues continued to pile up, then she starts acting more and more indifferent, giving you more and more stress over bullshit. So then you become the nigga who needs to be discarded. So you get pumped and dumped for real.
Well,
Of course.
the thing is,
It's
the
true.
women today don't necessarily have their child by the man that's best fit to be a father. They do this purposefully. They have a child by the man they want to have a child with, and then they later seek to have a stepfather actually help her raise them in a way of speaking, mostly just financially. So that's just how it is. And you can't really fight against that.
And
No,
I
What?
we have
they
to kill that narrative.
reciprocate.
We have to kill that bullshit that most black men that are impregnating these women are not prepared mentally or financially to be fathers, and the women are just victims. Most
Well,
black men
that's
want to
not.
be.
It's not that
That is,
most black men aren't. It's just that the ones they pick aren't. You get what I'm saying? So like they do that specifically because it's not the men they have a child with is not. It's not necessary that they be financially stable.
but you're speaking as if even if they were financially stable, that would change the dynamic of the relationship. That would cause her not to become
No, it
a
wouldn't.
baby mama.
No, I'm not
No, it
saying it
would.
would. I'm saying even if he was financially stable, even if he happened to be financially stable, I'm saying the man that the woman first decides to have a child with, his finances
Hmm.
are completely irrelevant. That's why you have instances where even the man had his stuff together and trying to be in the child's life, she'll still call him a deadbeat because she wanted that man specifically for genetics.
Exactly. So it has nothing to
Yeah.
do with the women wanting to pick some minority or majority of bad men. It's just these are what the women want, regardless. Whether it's a thug, whether it's the preppy guy, whether it's a lame, whether it's a cool guy. Women
Yeah.
nowadays do not desire these long-term relationships. They do not value family in the way men do. Black men are still more traditional than black women. Black women are extremely black American women are the most Americanized women. Anything that embodies
Yep.
America embodies black women more than white women. Black women are more American than white women. I mean, make that make sense in their way of thinking. There's nothing Afrocentric or traditional from any culture about black American women. Black American women are the most liberal, forward, progressive thinking group of women on the planet.
Can I
So it
add? They're
doesn't
the
matter.
most
Have you
feminist minded
seen
as
like
well.
the Have you seen the recent? It's not really recent. It's probably been going on since like 2015, but it's been a big push for stepfatherhood and cuckoldry. Like it's being pushed, like literally, in like mainstream
Yeah.
media, like ads, stepfatherhood and cuckoldry. That's part of the liberal agenda. Accepting accepting that role because they know that's the way. Once women become more liberated, sexually liberated, that's usually where it goes. They have sex, they have a child by the man they actually want to have a child with, but
Hmm.
the child still needs a father.
Well, they don't want. This is the
They
reason why
want
they
the
don't.
village to
So
raise a
they have to
child.
propagandize men's minds into accepting that that stepfather and that cuckold role is important. Even if you, let's say, even you marry a woman and
Hmm.
she can still have sex and have a child with a man that she actually wants to have a child with, even with you being married to her. Just because you married to her doesn't mean that you're automatically a child. That's why they
Yeah.
push against that's why they push against mandatory
Paternity test.
DNA tests, yeah, paternity tests. Because the push for cuckoldry and stepfatherhood is necessary for this current society of liberated women. Because that's
Well,
a natural imperative to do that. You understand what it's doing now? Like
I,
it's
I I get
inevitable.
what you're saying, but you have to understand one thing about these women. These women don't want family. So what they get out of the stepfather deal is they get a permanent boyfriend. So when
Well,
you
no,
have a when
what they
well no, no,
get,
let me
is
explain
a
this to you.
retirement plan. They get a
Let me
retirement
explain
plan.
this. Let me
That's
explain this to you, bro. When you have a baby with a woman, it creates a dynamic where you and that woman have more responsibilities collectively, and it kind of like you're forced to have some type of more structure between you. Your dynamic goes from just talking about dates to that type of stuff. It kind of changes into family planning, child rearing, and that stuff is boring to the modern day women. And modern day women just want to have fun
Yeah.
and they can when they go get with the stepdaddy, that child rearing, that family dynamic, that's conversations you're still having with you, but with him it's still the dating boyfriend phase all the way through, and that's really where they want to stay. They want their kid because of the biological imperative, but they still want their fun, and they can have you for the kid over there, or you over here for just the fun boyfriend. See, it's a dual mating strategy where they get everything they want, but the dynamics between a man and a woman changes dramatically once a family is started and that kid comes into the picture. And most women do not want that dynamic. They don't know what a family is until they get it, and then they find out that shit's extremely boring and it's a lot of work, and they want to vacay.
and therein lies the problem, man.
Oh yeah, damn.
Oh man,
He
you
be
dropped
back.
off?
Yeah,
He
he be back.
dropped.
All right, who taking over?
That's
So
crazy.
Smirgle, you don't got kids, right?
Nah, hell no. Hell no. Because I
I didn't
Yeah.
have
I
my.
understood this, like the way
See,
I'm younger, so I talked to these women. Like they plan to have a stepfather. That's
Yeah.
what really made me like, oh hell no. I'm not gonna be the first or the second choice because being the first choice, I'm not necessary except outside of my sperm. Like that's where that sperm donor stuff come from. And being the second choice, I'm just there to be your retirement plan. So yeah, I'm not having kids ever.
Yeah,
I
for
didn't
some
have my
reason,
first one till I was 39.
I mean,
I dropped
I
out of
have
my own
kids.
stream, man. My bad. I'm sorry, man. I just want to say that I dropped out of my own stream, man. My browser went down. So go ahead, fellas.
We held
it's
it
all
down for you,
good.
bro.
We got you back, man.
Yeah, Archer took
Yeah,
over
we
for
held it
you.
down.
Go ahead, fellas.
I want to add something to this. I know you was already speaking, the fellow with the rose, but I'm 29, but I had two kids, at 19, and like Gigi said earlier in the stream, a lot of men don't know what's getting ready to be extracted from them. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it all seems so nice until the music stops. Right now, we dealing with a globalized sexual marketplace. So, you're right. You're right. The brother with the rose, you're 100% right. A lot of these women, even you too, Archer, they don't see the long term. Well, they are anticipating having that door that they can walk through and get back into doing what they really want to do. It's
What you
always
gotta
available for them.
what you really gotta understand is if you're a guy that forever God forbid you want to participate in this market, what you have to understand is you're nothing more than a utility. You're either a
Yeah.
utility for
Exactly.
financial currency or a utility for genetic currency. So if you're the dude that gets all the bitches, you're just there to supply sperm. That's basically at the end of the day, that's your role. It's not that they actually care about you or want you as a man or respect your manliness or anything like that. You
Exactly.
good looking dude and they want to have your baby. They want a baby out of you. That then
And the
they need
thing, a
you
lot of men don't know their power.
just to,
You know what I
to
mean?
satisfy their primal urges because women can't really get over that primal urge to have a baby. 'Cause that's why you see a lot of these women, on the Cash show, they'll just say, "Oh, I just had a baby just cause." Basically,
Mm-hmm.
they say it in a lot of different ways, but usually that's what it ends up being. They just have a baby just cause because it's really just an instinct that they can't get over. And
Yeah.
then everybody knows about the financial utility. That's obvious, the stepfather thing, but nobody really wants to do. So at the
You
end
got
of
the
the
fun
day,
utility. Don't miss that neither. 'Cause she can be just with you because you're a good time. Um, and you got to remember that's the big reason a lot of these women don't stay in long term relationships because after that the relationship no longer becomes fun. That's when most of them bounce. We
Because
always
to
like
be
to
in a
play it.
relationship,
We like to. I mean, we like to play. I mean, I'm pretty sure dude on here 29 and has two kids. I'm pretty sure when you had those two kids, like less date nights and all that other stuff, and it became more of raising the kids. And women don't really they don't want that responsibility. I mean, the government gives the child to the women, but that shit ain't fun to them. They hate that. They hate that, and that's why they're so mad at the men. That's why we got to stop letting this narrative that black men are bad and the black man is the biggest problem in the community. Because what it tells young boys is that when I grow up and I become a man and I find me a woman, all I gotta do is everything right and nothing will go wrong. And then when they get that woman,
Right, right.
they get that surprise, and when they get that surprise, like, oh shit, what was this? I thought if I didn't do anything wrong, everything would be okay, and
but
it
it
don't turn
doesn't
out the way it
matter.
is.
That's what men don't understand. It doesn't matter if you
No,
do
you're
anything right
100%
or
right.
wrong.
You're 100% right, Archer.
Yeah. You're
No, no,
right.
no, no.
Yeah.
He's right. He's 100% right.
So this is what happens when you're a young man. First of all your friends around you telling you you need to get more and more sex. You know, that makes you a man, you know, and the feeling is awesome or whatever. That's animalistic thinking, but I mean, it's to be expected from young people because they don't know shit. Okay. So you the man, you're more respected amongst your peer group if you're having sex. Okay. Or at least you can demonstrate that you can have sex. All right. Why this matters to other men that you can do this is beyond me. But it is what it is. Okay. That's just how young people operate. Okay. Have you got some yet? Oh, you ain't got none. Or you get some, or she was, you know, look at the one he got and all that. Okay, whatever. All right. But
It's
you
like a
go into
sexual
that,
hierarchy. It's like a sexual hierarchy.
it's complete
You hear
bullshit.
me,
It
Gigi?
has no bearing on how your future will turn out or your value and substance as a man. To
Yeah,
me, that's
yeah.
just my opinion. Okay. Now, but a lot of young men put value on this bullshit. Okay. So that's one of the driving factors of why young men are on some blue pill shit to begin with. Okay. Now, but because you're putting yourself at the whim of women and you don't know what traps could be laid for you there. And even the women can have good intentions and then shit could go foul. Okay. But here's the deal. All this young fucking shit comes along with consequences. It comes along with emotional consequences. Okay. Because I don't care what you're saying, man. You keep smashing somebody long enough and y'all intimate long enough, there's going to be some sort of connection there, whether you like it or not. Okay. Now, it might be deeper or more profound for the woman. It might be less. It might be more profound for the man. I tend to think that men are the ones who have this idea that they're going to be in love and the woman's going to love them back as equal
Yeah,
to the equal extent to which they love the woman. I don't
yeah.
believe that's
Nah,
true. I just don't
nah.
believe that.
Women are mercenary.
So, you know,
Real
Men are
mercenary.
a lot more romantic than the women. Now I know that personally because I'm a younger guy that just got out of that like phase of like loving and shit. So like dating at a young age was definitely like you said, you don't know the traps or pitfalls. It's literally like imagine you're walking through a minefield backwards with a blindfold on. That's what it's like dating in this market. And
and
luckily I came out and I didn't hit a single mine. So
because you being intimate with a woman makes you feel like a man. Okay. That's what it makes you feel like. Okay. Um, but having a child with a woman that you have no relationship with that's healthy and that you can't influence or impart any sort of control over at all, like she's just AWOL. Like she can do whatever the fuck she wants, when she wants, how she wants. And if you say anything to her, you're being controlling. Like that's just unrealistic in a relationship anyway. Both people have, to some degree, some sort of control over the others. Okay, the man has control over the woman has control over the man to some extent. If you're involved in a relationship, it there's no way you can tell me that you've been in a relationship with a woman and she didn't ask you to do some shit and just you'd had no inkling whatsoever to do that shit. That's a lie. Okay,
yeah,
and it should be vice versa. That woman should be like, damn, okay, this man just asked me to do this. He's my man. I love him. What you want, babe? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. But see, we don't know how to, as a group of people, handle conflict resolution. All this shit is just based on romantic love. I'm like, come on, man. Like at some point, this is about like us being a fucking unit and maneuvering through the world. Like at first I admired you for sex. Now I admire you for your adeptness at being able to hold this household down. Because this is work too. Just
Right,
like the
right,
work you do outside the house,
right.
it's work you got to do inside the house. And this work is more paramount to our success than the fiscal work that's being done outside of the context of the house at these jobs. This is the
And that takes
spiritual work.
responsibility. But a lot of women don't have that inkling to be responsible and really hold it down. A lot of them, they just children, man, to be honest with you.
yeah. A lot of women
Grown
see
children.
relationships as like an extended one night stand.
Mhm.
That's pretty much all it is to them. Like they don't see any sense of responsibility or duty in a relationship. You don't have to be in a relationship. You don't have to be boyfriend and girlfriend to have sex. You can just have sex with a different person every day and meet that imperative. A relationship is a job.
Exactly. It's hard work. It's
It's
work,
a
man.
sense of duty. Yeah.
And
As a
all men require. Look. All I know is all I can speak is from my perspective. I had the first baby mama. She didn't have any kids. I didn't have any kids. We started off on that journey together. Okay. But then after, the child was born, then here come this new ass behavior. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, I gotta be up at night and you weren't up and she was doing this. I'm like, look, what the fuck you
She
want me
has
to do?
power
Grow some
now.
breasts? I can't fucking do like if I'm sleeping and you gotta wake up to feed the kid and you breastfeeding. I mean, you can wake me up, but goddamn, I mean, let's be sensible here, man. Like I can't do what you can do at this time of this child's life. She's depending on you for nurturance, literally. Now I can breastfeed her when you gone. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my kid too. I'm gonna take care of the kid, and be around the kid and see after their development, just like you. But goddamn, like I can't do everything you could do right now. Because that's your function, not mine. Okay, so anyway, but not being able to figure that shit out because older women ain't even teaching these young motherfuckers what to do and how to do it, other than how to juice and finesse men, which is some bullshit. Because in the end, all you doing is you finessing the kid and the man. But you think you're doing what's best for the kid because you have all this control over the kid, but you really are not creating the most healthy and the vital and the most exuberant kid you can.
So,
About
so
power.
about that. So knowing all this, Gorilla, there's still the issue of fatherless children. How does that issue get addressed? So do the children just not have fathers?
Hey man, shit,
They do have
look, them kids
fathers.
got fathers. Them kids got fathers, but they got uncle dad. No, the kids got uncle daddies. That's what they got. And it's
Well,
unfortunate, but you
we've
know what?
established that women typically don't pick the most suitable man the first time around, purposefully.
I don't
So
think that
they would
I,
need a more suitable father the second time around. But if men aren't willing to fit that role, and the first man's been all but discarded, then these ultimately a lot of children just aren't going to have suitable fathers.
but look, put it this way. I don't think, look, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I understand that theory, and I know that theory is, being spread around a lot about how women, the first time they have a kid, they have kids with men who are not really actually worthy. Like, dude, I already had a college degree when I met my first baby mother. This shit wasn't that I wasn't adequate or didn't have my shit together. That was this. You got men who are fucking like making 100K. You got men making millions of dollars. Like, take Kanye right now.
Okay.
Okay, so Kanye is fucking around with KD, right? I mean, Kate was fucking around with Kim
Let's
Kardashian. This
maybe I
bitch,
didn't vocalize the point correctly, because okay, regardless of your accomplishments and everything, she walked off, right?
because it's easy for women to walk off. That's the
Yeah,
issue.
and
See,
yeah,
Yes,
this is more.
yes.
So this goes back to
The
my
back
initial
door.
point. This is my initial point. There is power in women being able to walk off and to control the children. That's her power. Okay. But this is where her power falls and fails and where she does herself a disservice. Because she'll never be able to find a motherfucking man that loves the child as much as the original daddy, the biological father. Now, you might got some dudes who, simptastic and they can do it better than anybody else. Okay, I get that. And they fair-minded or whatever the case. I'm not saying that you can't find it, but chances are you will not find that. And you can tell by the number of women who are still single with all these damn babies. Okay? The
that's
reality of the
the ultimate
situation.
goal, right? So that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal, even if you were suitable, Grand Gorilla, I'm not doubting your how eligible you were for your baby mother. Were you her face? Were you her first? Were you her first, like, you know, baby daddy?
I was the first baby daddy to one of them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I had like, and so here's what I thought. I'm gonna have a wife and kids. We're gonna build a family, and we're gonna be together like I saw families when I was growing up. That's what I thought. Okay, that shit didn't work out that way because she walked off. And when she tried to come back, I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna let you come back to this after you got through fucking a few other niggas. Now you coming back after we done had a kid? You got to be out of your
Yeah,
fucking mind. I
same.
don't work like that. That's not how I work.
Hell
So
yeah.
you
Yeah,
let the
see,
pussy, you
that's the
let the pussy be
programming
out
I'm
there.
talking about, right?
No,
So they're
no,
looking
no.
for the second go around. They're looking for a better deal than what they already had the first child with. That's the point I'm trying to like get across, that no matter who you are as the first guy, they'll always assume they can get something better. Not just
That
something better, but the goal is to get a stepfather regardless of who the biological father is. The goal isn't to have a fit biological father to raise your kids. The goal is to have a fit stepfather. The stepfather,
but why? The goal to have
I don't know
the
actually.
goal to
That's
have
what
the
I'm asking.
stepfather, the goal to have the stepfather. Let me go back over this.
Cause
Because
I've
this is
talked
how I
to women.
started.
See, this is the problem. Can I just lay this out real quick, and I'll just let you just go.
Okay.
But here's the problem I've like really ran into when dealing with these women my age. They literally plan to have a rich stepfather. Like they'll pick a guy, like the first baby daddy, no matter what his qualifications are. He ain't shit. He a deadbeat, whatever. Talking them
And
into
what
the,
age is
but
that?
still
What
going
age is
through
that
the
you're talking?
pregnancy the whole time. But then out their mouth, they'll also say, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for a rich stepdaddy." So to me,
Hey,
it's
brother, what age is
like
that?
the goal
Sorry,
was
what age is that?
always to be a stepfather. Knowing that if the goal is for them to always have a stepfather, and the child never had a chance unless she gets a stepfather. You can say the child has a biological father, but she never wanted the biological father. She just wanted, to have the child with who she wanted to have a child with for whatever reason she wanted to have a child. The real father is the stepfather. But we know what comes with that. They want a man to accept that role. They want a father there without any like real patriarchal control or responsibility. I know. I'm thinking about it as I'm speaking. The
That's
stepfather
exactly
has no
that's
control
the
over her,
point.
has no
There you
say.
go.
That's
Ding
why they
ding
want the
ding.
stepfather. Yeah,
Ding 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 ding.
yeah, that
Now
makes
you
sense.
got it.
Bro,
Yeah,
Okay, so now
what,
we speak. Now you're
wait,
speaking green gorilla language.
give me,
Okay, because I'm telling you,
hello?
the engine that drives Gynocracy. I'm gonna repeat this shit because some of y'all came later. Some say it's a mindset. Some say it's a form of enculturation, like feminism, black girl magic. I disagree. Some say it's simps, laws, or policies to benefit women. To some degree, yes. But that's not striking the target. It's not hitting it's not hitting the bullseye. All right. The gynocracy's main bargaining chip, what holds it all together, its biggest asset, its greatest resource, is children. Period. This is why they venerate motherhood, because children apportion to them benefits. Okay, it gives them in this culture, it gives them access to health care, housing, tax credits, and it gives them arbitrary power over the influence of those children. And it gives you power over the father of the children in this culture. That is why they do what they do, because they know that they have the power. And you don't have the power. I'm sorry. Now, and I told you exactly when this exchange in power occurred in Western culture. It occurred when white men in England decided, with the Custody of Infants Act in 1839, that men are no longer to receive full custody of their children in divorce cases. Because this whole idea that women are the primary caretakers was never conceptualized in Western society. You gotta understand. Rome was basically the cultural influence of the world for millennia. Okay, Roman society. In Roman society, fathers had absolute power over their children and their wives. Absolute. Even the lives of their children. Like, if you disobey the rules of your father could kill you, terminate your life. Like, fuck him. He went out, and you still see this shit in like the Godfather culture. Like, I whacked him, the motherfucker. He was disrespectful kid. You know what I mean? Forget about it. So that, and men would actually try to live up to the expectations of their fathers, or either try to destroy their fathers if they were too brutal. Okay? But in this code, and then that Roman culture was adopted by the Germanic tribes. Because a lot of them were brought into the Roman army and were Romanized. They were romanticized. That's what that shit is called, romanticized, because you're more like Romans. Okay? The Germanic tribes did not have letters. They still don't have their own letters and forms of writing. Now they may have had, but that shit was eradicated. Romans got rid of that. So with all them druidic symbols and shit like that, they don't even use their own script. The numbers and the letters that they use are Roman numerals, Roman letters. L, M, D, C, all that shit is Roman. Okay, so they've been enculturated to adopt the practices of Rome. For millennia, they followed the Roman customs associated with patriarchy. But in 1839, they changed all that shit. And they gave all of this deference to women. And it just so happens that it happened in a particular time in the history of, European and British culture, damn near the Victorian era. Okay, so all this extolling the virtues of womanhood, all of it was done for a specific reason. Okay, but patriarchy made white women, and this the shit that's the unique about the funky academic. Like, patriarchy made white women stay at home and take care of the kids, made black women come out of their own homes and work and help white women raise their white kids, and black men was always given the shit end of the stick.
Yeah,
But
we
that's
was
the whole.
enslaved.
We were enslaved, beat down, broken down. After slavery comes sharecropping. After that comes menial labor. First fired, last hired. Okay,
We
so
still there.
well, we still there, but so the whole thing is these women know that they have a material advantage. They're utilizing it. Okay, but the question is, what as a man can you do in order to circumvent these issues in your life? Well, the one thing you could do is, as a young man, is to be very aware of the power of your seed and what you're handing over because of the culture that you live in. You might feel like you're a big man when you give birth to your kid, and you should, and under normal circumstances. But these circumstances are not normal for us. Might be normal for white guys, but it ain't normal for us. We don't run this culture, this society. The welfare system, I even did a show on this shit, is really actually used to manage black women's bodies. But they don't know that shit. They think it's a handout. This is goody goody. It was used to be able to monitor and to exert paternalistic force over their children. And they right now have become so accustomed to the shit, they don't even see it for what it is. Now, they're the most educated, but just because you're the most educated don't mean you got the most common sense. Because there's a difference between book sense and common sense ain't common. It just ain't. But the reality of the situation is you got black men right now who believe that they're going to have like these extended relationships with these women, and these women are going to venerate them, treat them like kings and so on. No, bruh. It's not going to happen, bruh. It can't. I'm not saying it never happens, because it does. Okay, there are unique and rare situations in which women stick around and they understand what they have, the value of what they have, and they understand their role. But increasingly, that's becoming few and far in between. You're not seeing women acknowledge the value of men in their lives. If anything else, they're like, I value motherhood more than I do marriage.
Well, to that, Green Gorilla, well, a lot of women, even married women, are realizing is there's a lot more benefits to being a single mother than there is to being a married woman, unless your husband happens to be like in the top 1% of the 1% of earners. Like, you get a lot more, like you said, benefits just from the government and just society in general. You get They even get an ego boost and like a sense of purpose and entitlement from being a single mother that a married woman doesn't have. In fact, women shame married women. Other women shame married women because they feel like you're putting yourself in a compromised position. The way they put it, you could be doing so much more, having so much freedom, but you got to go home and answer to a man. It's almost like the opposite of what's going on in the men's spaces, where like if a man decides he wants to, be with a woman or something, they'll call him a simp. Get what I'm saying? It's like,
Man, I put it this way. Back in the day, if a man would walk out on his family, they'd call him a philanderer or some shit like that. And, call him a two-timer, a bigamist, and all this shit. But now you got women doing the same shit.
yeah,
And they call it
exactly.
strong black womanism.
Yeah.
Look here, man. At the end of the day, y'all fucking with families, you fucking with legacy. And this needs to be stated, man. I don't want this shit to go on for like 5 hours. But the difference is black men. If you want to improve the quality of the community of black folks, then you have to improve the quality of black men's lives. That's some shit they don't see right now. And they can't see it because they refuse to see it. You ever seen the movie The Sixth Sense? Where you got Bruce Willis walking around like a fucking ghost and he don't know he a ghost? Where the little kid says, I see dead people.
Yeah.
Right now, these women are walking around thinking that they can be the saving grace of everything because they're mothers. But look.
So okay.
At the end.
Okay. To that. Just one question, real quick. So stepfathers wouldn't improve the community.
Stepfathers wouldn't improve the community?
Yeah, if men being stepfathers and feeling that follow role, basically falling into the plan. Because the plan is for you to be a stepfather, not a biological father. The plan is for a man in this culture and climate. The plan is for you to be a stepfather. So if that's the only way a man can play the father role these days, I guess that wouldn't improve the community. I guess I don't think it would degrade it. I think it would just stay the same. I don't know.
We'll put it this way. We'll put it this way. If you got a group of men who don't really actually have any control or impact over the lives of the children that they're in the households with, and they're pretty much governed by women. So you got a group of men who have no control even in their own homes. They have no say. Like I've seen this shit happen on dozens of occasions, even to my own self, where you got kids trying to triangulate between two parental figures, right? And then like the one brother who I ain't put it up there, the 4 words that are always gonna come. You ain't my daddy. Meaning you don't run me. They can't tell that to their mothers. They will never buck up against their mothers and say, you ain't my mommy. Because they know who their mother is. Men don't need to be in the position to where they have to like argue with children over who the fucking boss is. And then you definitely shouldn't have to argue with a goddamn woman who you supporting and helping her get through this life. That you got to deal with a fucking disrespectful kid. Talking a whole bunch of disrespectful shit. See, these women are placing themselves in a position to where they're being triangulated. It's got to take a toll on them as well. So now you got to make sure you're pleasing the man and the kid. You shouldn't have to do that. You wouldn't have to do that if the daddy was there all along. And now I'm not saying the triangulation doesn't take place amongst biological fathers and mothers, because it does. Okay, but damn, this simp level disrespect, man, is unparalleled, bro. This shit ain't never been like this in world history. This is a new phenomenon men are dealing with. And they're rejecting it. Black men, white men, Hispanic men all over the world are like, man, fuck this shit. It's a shitty deal.
Yeah, women in no time in history have had this much power. We've never really seen a society where women have had their hands on the wheel, basically. Women govern this society. Yeah, men like run the infrastructure still to an extent, but women push the laws cater to them. Society as a whole caters to women. This is a woman's society.
Well, all patriarchal cultures take care of women. Like, just don't get that shit twisted.
But
Like,
no, there's a difference between taking care of women and catering to them. There's a big difference because in a patriarchal society where they take care of women, of course they don't want the women to die. They need the women to be healthy and generally taken care of so they have healthy babies. But in this society, it's like the women have the power, the authority, but none of the responsibility. The men still hold the responsibility for keeping the infrastructure together. But that's what it's like when women have their hands on the steering wheel. That's what it's like when women don't want the responsibility, but they want to run shit. That's why you can a basic example of this are women in HR in a company. Like they decide who gets hired and who gets fired, but the real positions are still held by men. You know, the CEOs and the well, I guess women do managerial positions too. But
white men run this bitch, bro. Don't get
yeah,
it twisted. White men run America. Look at the Senate. Look at the House of Representatives. Look at the presidencies.
yeah, but even
Look at
like
the
even
Supreme
the
Court.
conservative white men still cater to white women through the laws.
They cater to them through the laws
Yeah,
to a certain extent.
because that's their voter base. Women, majority of voters are women.
But let's not get it twisted. You got the white zaddy, man. That motherfucker running his household. Like, bruh, I'm telling you, this shit that black men are going through is unique. And you might think that because what's happening in our community is so fucking crazy that it's happening elsewhere. And it is happening elsewhere to some extent. Don't get it twisted. It is. Okay. But not to the magnitude that is happening in the black community, man. When we got the flu, we got COVID, other motherfuckers got hay fever. We got cold. We need a damn what? Not a breathalyzer, a fucking respirator.
A ventilator.
Yeah, we need a ventilator.
Yeah.
We can't breathe on our own. They
Yeah.
sneezing and coughing. But like I've
Hey.
seen it. I swear to God, man, I've seen it. Women who have feminist as a title at the university, but their husbands take care of the fucking the balance and the budget. All the money is mediated through the hands of the man. I've seen them talk about it. They've even said it. The women even make more money, some of these women, than their husbands, but their husband still is the final arbiter and the decision maker in the context of those homes. But when it comes to black men, black women, man, want to be the sole fucking controller. This is why you got this pronounced level of single motherhood. And not only that, we have to admit there are a lot of black men out of the picture, bro. Like this society is destroying and attacking us in ways that it's attacked no other group of men other than probably perhaps Native Americans. Okay, they're doing a fucking job on us. So the amount of available men, you know, like who are not strapped down by the way the society is attacking us, you know, there are not a lot of guys out there. This is the shit that's crazy to me, right? When I watch Kevin Samuel's show. So we already know the context in which black men are living in these United States. They're attacking us. We're outgroup males and they're doing things to prevent us from flourishing, functioning, and thriving. So don't use that situation as a means by which to come up and to beat us down even further. That's why black men feel like we've been traded against. Like we've been given the Benedict Arnold treatment by a lot of these women, by a lot of our mothers, our sisters, our wives, our fiancés, and whatever, baby mamas, whatever you want to call it. Because if we're uplifted, it's going to be something that benefits the entirety of the black community. Because then we'll actually be able to have the situations and conditions in which they can stay at the crib and take care of their kids and raise their kids. We'll have situations in which it's less financially difficult for them, but they can't see that right now. All they see is you can't tell me what to do, and I'm the mama, you the side piece. You are the motherfucking mashed potatoes and gravy. I'm the chicken. I'm the steak. I'm the backbone. They done already told you what they are. I'm the backbone of the black community. I'm holding it down.
Yeah, they the table. They the table.
Man, they the fucking whole house.
You heard me, GG? They the table.
You know what I'm saying? Man, look. But there are structural conditions which are changing the family, and like this is a growing phenomenon throughout the world. Like I'm not, but women enjoy this, and they only enjoy it to the extent to which, like you said earlier, the government is entertaining this, and it's all done under the aegis or like the auspices of helping children. Because if you a single woman, you don't get the same kind of health care and shit that like a single mother does. You don't get those benefits. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
single women complain about that a lot,
Yeah, you
actually.
you you got to
So
get it how you live. If you're a single woman, you got to get it how you live. You ain't getting all them. You ain't getting no wick. You ain't getting no cheese, no milk, no grapes, no peaches. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting none of that shit. You ain't getting no Section 8, none of that. All you got to do is pump out one of them little things, and then the next thing you know, you got a whole bunch of benefits. This is why, like, people on the right are trying to create, the conditions in which people who are married do get benefits. They are able to file their taxes in different ways. So there's some sort of subsidization of the marriage as an institution. But increasingly, if you got just the same amount of subsidization for being single and having pumping a little bundle of pride and joy out, shit, why not do it?
Yeah,
This is
it's
what the
lucrative.
black conservatives were talking about. Like, this is what fucking Walter Williams was talking about and Thomas Sowell was talking about the Great Society and how it was a failure and how it broke up the family. And a lot of people on the right were saying this. Like, I don't agree with the right when it comes to race, but I do agree with what they say when it comes to the traditional family. I do agree with that. Okay,
I want to
they
ask you
created.
something. I want to ask you something.
Yeah, go
I want
ahead.
to ask you something, Gg. So, back in the day, to have slaves was like a sign of wealth, right? It was an asset. You could write it down on your taxes. You could use it collateral with the bank. Um, what do you think about when you think about black motherhood, right? And the way it is now. And you talked about earlier, you said that it's an asset to a woman to be a mother, and it's a liability to a man to be a father. What do you so we talking about the same thing, and that just opened my eyes that you just brought that point up
But
because
but but
a
there's a
lot of women
difference
are
though.
trying to have children.
But see, there's a
Go
difference
ahead, tell
though.
me the difference. Tell me the difference then,
A
Gg.
slave makes you money and produces wealth. A kid, that kid is giving you temporary money, piecemeal money, temporary money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you getting acrylic nail and hair weave money from that type of arrangement or institutional arrangement. It's a stopgap measure. It's not. See, these people, white folks built wealth by cooperating and collaborating. Okay, if we had intact familial units and we're both working and saving money and being frugal, then we could probably perhaps close the wealth gap to some degree. But what we want to do is what the fuck we want to do. We own negative liberty on steroids. So they're able to take these children and gain temporary access to social programs that we're not, but that's not building wealth for them. Like the scholar, it's a black man named Robert Staples, man. I forgot what university he worked at, but at the end of the day, if women really actually want these men that they say they want, like they calling the Kevin Samuels for, you can't solve the problem of the family situation amongst black people, man, until you deal with the economic predicament of black men. It's just, so you look at black women and white women, their incomes are roughly damn near the same. Okay? The way that they're faring in this society is roughly equivalent. It's black men where you see and white men where you see the radical difference. You want to solve the problems in
Yeah,
the
the
black
gap.
community,
Yeah,
you got to solve the problems of black men. That's the issue. Like the brother said here, man, we are
Hi-
the floor. We're the floor.
historically.
They
Yep,
got this gender
yep.
shit got shit fucked up.
And that's the
The
last
gender,
thing.
do
That's
those
the last
women
thing. That's
usually?
the last thing they want to fix. That's the last thing they want to fix is the floor. They keep us.
I
We
don't.
historically we've been always had a disparity.
See, that's the thing, though. I don't think these women care about the community. I think they just want a man that makes the money in that tax bracket or income bracket or whatever. I don't think they care about the community. So if they get that safety net of a high value man, it doesn't really matter what race he is. 'Cause at the end of the day, it's a utility.
But look, let's face it. White men wholesale don't want black women because black women are nigger production factories. That's what their wombs produce.
Right.
Their wombs produce
Right.
niggers. I mean, I'm just,
Right.
like, let's just be honest about this shit. So
Right.
you can
That is,
put
I mean,
on,
that's
you can get
true.
fake contacts, you can get motherfucking
We we
synthetic
know that.
weaves, you can get fake eyelashes or whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, you can't produce one of them blonde haired, blue eyed babies. This is not your work. You can't do that. Now, I mean, you might have some little light, bright, damn near white kids, but they ain't gonna be no straight up blonde haired Nordics not coming out of you. So at the end of the day, you know, you you don't have the right genetic makeup to be brought fully into this culture. Now they'll let you be mammy. Black women have always been invited into the family as a domestic. They've always had receptivity as a domestic. You was able to breastfeed the white boy and the white girl. You were able to exercise discipline over them until they reached a certain age. Then after that, you become less of a mother figure and more of a servant figure. And that's the strange shit that the psychological toll that has to take on a black female mind is how is it possible that, I'm in control over these little kids over a certain period of their lives. And then all of a sudden the shit flips and now they're my boss. But hey, it is what
Don't
it
forget
is,
your
man. And,
place.
man, it's gotta be some weird shit, but I'm not saying swirling doesn't take place. It does. It happens. You know what I'm saying? It's going to continue to happen, but
I
it ain't
think
happen. It ain't.
ultimately, just the ultimate version of what I'm saying, where they want that stepdaddy package, where the stepdaddy's the goal. Ultimately, I think the black woman's ultimate goal is to get a white man to play that role.
Man,
I really believe that.
white man ain't playing
They
that role
they do.
except
Eh.
he'll do it indirectly through taxation and transfer programs, but he is not
I'm
coming into these
seeing
motherfuckers' cribs, running these families, being together, connected with these black women, man. That shit ain't about to happen, bruh.
what I'm seeing. Well, are you familiar with the white MGTOW spaces?
No, hey, I really don't know nothing. So they want black women now?
Yeah, because they're saying white women require too much of them. Yeah, so white men are facing a lot of similar. They're facing like our 2012, 2015 problems now. So basically, they're saying they're having a problem with hypergamy and whatnot. So what they're saying is, well, just be better than white women. So pretend to be feminine because white women aren't being feminine. White men are complaining about unfeminine women too. So it's like, so yeah, they might end up scooping up some of the more favorable. I'm seeing it to an extent, not as much as black men. Black men have been, dating out a lot more. I see a lot more black men dating. I rarely see black couples, but every once in a while, usually on social media, honestly, I don't see it in person that much. But I'll see like a white, like a decent looking black chick with a white guy, and she may or may not have kids. So but the way the white men are like saying it, they're saying that black women suck up to them more than white women do. For obvious reasons, that's like a whole other conversation. We probably all at this point we understand why a black woman would suck up to a white man.
Yeah, that's a that's
Right.
a that's a god.
Master. That's
That's
Yeah,
master.
Jesus.
Yeah.
so
Yep.
that's the only time white. So basically, in society, the only way white men see themselves feeling like a real man is with a black woman because a black woman will pretend to be feminine for a white man, where they won't. A black woman won't do that for. We know this. We know this stuff. But this is like I'm not saying it's realistic. I'm saying like if I could put a percentage on, it's like probably like a 10% chance a black single mother could get a white man to be a stepfather, and the white man will
But
happily take
see,
that position just to feel like a man.
Man, if that
Think
shit
about
begins
think
to
about
if that
no
shit
no. I
begins to
want you to
happen,
think about the position. Think about the position that that black women may be in, like socially. She's a black woman. She's on American soil. You know what I'm saying? So she gonna look up to the white man because let's be real, a lot of black women, they do everything they can to kind of be American, like the other brother said earlier on the show. They trying to emulate that authority, that wealth. Um, that's all I got.
yeah, that's that racial hypergamy. You know,
Yep, yep.
but I can't call it all, man. All I got is my ideas and my viewpoints. I just, I feel at the end of the day, white people are more committed to racism than they are to feeling like men. Because nothing makes a white man feel like a
Always
man more than making sure there's somebody
stepping on a
that's a
black
nigga.
man.
That makes him feel more like a
Yep,
man than anything else, knowing that he got control over a group of niggas.
Well,
yep.
I mean, they can still do both for the black woman, right? So these black women happily get into slave play and degradation with a white man. Like you have pro-black women that are getting, put in shackles and walk around like a dog by a racist white man that's literally in the KKK or Proud Boy, whatever, whatever their trendy group is these days. The pro-black women are with them. We've seen it all over Twitter. So I mean, like, I think white men operate very similarly sexually to black men. The difference being finances mostly. Like at the end of the day, men are men, and they want to nut, and they want to feel like a man when they nutting. So like, if whether it's a white man, a black Chinese man, an Asian man, they don't want to feel like a sucker. Like no man wants to feel like a sucker unless they know they just a sucker and they're gonna play that sucker role. So like if they can get that with a black woman, regardless of being racist, they'll just treat her like a slave. As long as I guess, if she's down for that, you get what I'm saying? Like I don't think they care about race. Of course, the racist men care about race. That's their whole identity. But at the end of the day, I think they're imperative to nut and feel like a man. What they're doing is more important than them just being like, fuck black people. I guess so. Like,
Well, the way I look at it is, man, the black woman has always been the white man's concubine. It just is what it is. They can
oh
smash and
yeah, of
dash on
course.
them whenever, you know.
Traditionally, the white men never married the concubines because they didn't have to, because white women were, they were still playing their role, but white women are walking away from that role too. Like that's why, like, I was like, when brothers say they're gonna, date out or shit, the last thing you should go to is a white woman. They
Hey, man,
basically started this shit. So
I
like,
look. I say they both in cahoots, bruh. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, man, most white women are not feminists, bruh. Most white women are
No.
not, man. I mean, even though this culture is becoming more and more feminist, I still think that there are a group of traditional white women, man, who they know what a fucking power is. They know who run this shit and who keeps it sustained and safe. They know who got these weapons and these nuclear, weapons, and who has these tanks and these fighter jets and drones. They know who has this shit. They ain't stupid. You know what I'm saying? These
And
same
think
women,
about this.
these same
Think about
white
this real
women.
quick.
But I want you to think about this before you comment. Then I'm gonna let you talk, and then I'm about to be out
Roger
of
that.
here. Um,
Okay, okay.
yeah, white men who lost the Civil War in the South, the Confederates. White women, man, began to erect statues all over the South in honor of white men who lost, who were shamed and humiliated. The first thing these women did was they started to build up the confidence of the men who had lost, because those were the men who they had to rebuild their culture with. So they knew what kind of work they had to do. All right. So they went about doing it. The vast majority of these white women are not dumb. They're not stupid. They're not like on this, well, I'm a man now. I want the same money and equality as a man. Like, look, a lot of these women are like, I want to stay home with the kids. Fuck all this work shit. You take care of that. You handle that. I got this. Thank you for letting me be a stay-at-home wife. Now I'm an asshole, a little bitch here and there, but you know, thank you for putting me in this position. And most of these white women are working, but they work together with these white guys, man. Some of them are getting divorced and it's fucked up, but some of them know how to work it out. They got less divorces than we do. They got less single motherhood than we do. Not saying it ain't growing, but it ain't grown out of control like ours. You know, we live in a culture right now. It's just crazy. You know, our culture is just absolutely fucking upside down and has been from the inception. But these white guys, man, they know who run this shit. They can cut this shit off when they want to. And yeah, women are in the legislature and shit like that, but it's still primarily men. You look at the demographics between men and women in the Congress and shit like that, you're gonna still see it's primarily men that's running this shit. Look at all the CEOs and the money holders and the billionaires and the motherfuckers turning assets. It's men. They're the ones that's keeping this shit together, and they know it. And they don't have a problem with putting other men under the bus and making them subservient. That's part of the patriarchy too. Everybody can't be the top dog. So they're gonna, create policies and institutions to give women, some power here and there, and to check motherfuckers who might be trying to drive up or come up the building, come up the board, the leaderboard. They'll put some blockages and some impediments in his way. But at the end of the day, these white men know they run this shit, bruh. And not every white man is at the head of this damn, the leaderboard. No. So yeah, some of them are gonna catch some hell. But the vast majority of these guys, man, they gonna stick with Becky, bruh. They not gonna come to Shaquita and Cornisha. They ain't fucking with them, man. They definitely ain't fucking with these ghetto ass black chicks, these ratchet chicks. Come on, man. These white guys, man. Chad is not fucking with these trap queens, bruh. If anything, he gonna fuck with an Eastern, college educated black woman who's a professional. That's it. He ain't gonna be fucking with these chicks that like to roll blunts like Negroes do. Roll it better than you. It's not the type of motherfucking woman they looking for, bro. No. They might sex one of them chicks, but they gonna discard her, man. They gonna pump and dump her, bro. So hold on, let me I got some business to take care of. Problem will never resolve without new socialization of children with father involved where he can interact with both mother and children simultaneously. How do we make this happen? I say you can't make that happen in today's climate. Stop getting them pregnant. That's just how I'm feeling, man. And precise the talks while I'm driving these trucks at night. Tyrese Bowie, shout out to you, sir. Go
And
ahead and give your final
honestly,
comments, man. I'm about to get up out of here, man.
yeah,
All
honestly,
right. So the last thing is, like you said earlier, they're not gonna undo what they've been, working on for over 300 years, which is the system that they got in place that we feeling right now. They're not gonna trade all that in, just to be with a black woman. And vice versa. Black women, they're not necessarily looking at black men when it comes to viable options to come up, you know what I mean, to pick themselves up by the bootstraps, even if they don't come from money. And then, also a lot of these women that's married to white men, you're right, Gigi, they not stupid. They looking to get that passed down, that generational wealth passed down to them. And they not trying to mess that up, getting caught with a BBC, if you will. That's all I got.
Big black
I
cock.
appreciate you.
Huh?
Happy Father's Day. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day, brother. Happy Father's Day, man.
All right, all right. Be easy.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Ultimately, you hit it right on the head, Gigi. Don't have kids with them. And that's a bitter pill to swallow because at the end of the day, you got to realize in this climate, in this society we live in, you only have two options as a man, ultimately. Walk for your choices. We have three. So your three choices are to be a sperm donor utility, get ran through family court, be living out of a cardboard box. That's option one. Option two is to play stepdaddy. So if you want the semblance of a family and the father role, the only way you're really gonna get it is by walking into a ready-made situation. And even then, you have to understand it's an illusion, and you're just filling society's predetermined occupation as a father for you. So basically, you're signing up to be a father, not really a father. It's just a role. So, and your third option is, which I personally believe is the best option, is just to walk away. Don't have kids with them. Don't cohabitate with them. Don't, just walk away from women. But that's the problem with men is all men can't walk away. They don't know when to walk away. They don't know how to walk away. They're just gonna see however they can alpha their way through it. Like it's guys out there that feel like they can alpha their way through the courts. They can alpha their way through the bedroom into a woman's life. They can alpha their way through being a stepdaddy. When you could have
Yeah,
saved yourself a lot of grief in life by just walking away and living for yourself as a man and not doing that. But men can't walk away because it's that sense of accountability, that sense of duty, that sense of manhood comes in from accomplishing and alphaing your way through. They see this climate as adversity that they have to overcome. Otherwise, if they don't overcome it, they're not a real man.
yeah, I wouldn't even try to overcome this shit because I don't think,
Yeah,
yeah, like I would tell a young man, focus on you,
yeah.
get your shit straight, make sure your goals and your dreams
But
are
what you're
accomplished.
telling them, what you're telling them though is right. Be successful, become the best version of yourself, just for no woman at the end of it. To see the point, the problem is what you also understand is like a lot of men's motivation is also to have a wife and kids, or like at least have a woman in their life that they have kids with, not necessarily a wife, but just a woman. So men grow to the levels of success and physical fitness that they do to impress and obtain a woman. So like if
Exactly.
you're telling them to be, so that's why you see a lot of men shutting down and living in their mom's basement, not because they're not capable of anything else, it's because they have no motivation.
Well, my thing.
Regardless of what guys say, regardless of what the pickup artist, the game dude, or whatever these so-called alphas say, they want to say a woman isn't your purpose. Unfortunately, it is your purpose.
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
That's why you're muscular, and that's why you have $1 million in the bank. It's to impress women,
Well, I'll say
and that's
this.
natural though. That's
It,
natural.
well, I'll say this. You could go about being your best self, but if the motivating factor behind all of that is a woman, then you lost focus on what the fuck reality is. Like at the end of the day, yeah, you want women, and you want to be this bull, and part of that is connected to your manhood, to
Yeah,
some extent and to some degree. But if it is
you
the
have.
like the subconscious drive for everything that you do, like
Yeah,
me getting an advanced degree didn't have shit to do with a woman. I didn't say I'm going to work on this doctoral degree every day so I can get me some pussy, so I can have a wife. That's why I'm doing it. Or
would you say by the time you got there, would you say you were becoming a little bit more aware of the climate and everything?
no, man. I just look. I think man's biggest desire should be the best incarnation of himself as possible. And you're gonna fall. There are gonna be times in your life where that's easier and that's more difficult, given your circumstances. All right. But one thing I will say is this: your goal. I mean, it's natural for you to want a woman and to want a family and to move forward and progress. But under the circumstances of today, the cultural climate, it's not looking good for you to make that your goal. Improve yourself, get yourself together, and understand you got to be as ruthless as these women are. You got to treat them like utilities. If they're not assets, cut them off. Don't fuck around with them. You got to know when to exit. This situation ain't good. Don't try to alpha your way through it. Don't try to figure it out because she ain't gonna do it. Handle your business, man. Get yourself together. Do shit that you like to do. Be happy with you, because that woman ain't gonna make you happy. She'll make you miserable. if that's your goal. So, at any rate, man, thank y'all for joining me this beautiful Saturday. Shout out to all y'all out there in the chat, and thank y'all for the donations and stuff like that, man. I didn't even expect to be on this long, bro. I only expected to be on for like a few minutes. I didn't even know if anybody would even come in because this is not the normal time in which I do these shows. But shout out to y'all, man. Take care of yourself, man. You don't need a woman for validation. Validate your damn self, man. Get your own shit. Get your own mind. Move at your own pace. Do your own thing. Yeah, yeah. Peace out, y'all. One.